Hello and welcome to the RPGeeks, where we do Dungeons and Dragons and science set in the sci-fi world of Brexigentu. So we are four science communicators who love to play D&D, and then afterwards we talk about the science behind the sci-fi concepts that have come up in the game. So let's introduce ourselves. My name is Shamini. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm a science communicator, filmmaker by trade, but tonight I shall be playing Tenebris, a drow sorcerer. Now there are no drows or sorcerers in our world, so this is a bit confusing, but you'll get the gist. And Tenebris uses she, her pronouns as well. Emily Bates.
Hello, I'm Emily Bates. I too am a science communicator, video producer person in real life, and in the game I play Infinite Sky 6000, who is a terraforming druid droid, some might say. And I think, is that everything? I think that's everything. I use she, her pronouns. And Simon.
Hello, I'm Simon. I use he, him pronouns. I'm a science communicator and author. I wrote a book. It's why I've got a dinosaur friend.
So naturally. Oh my God, you can actually say that now. This is wild.
Yep.
Is the dinosaur related to the book?
Yeah, my friends had we went to a restaurant and they gave me a balloon and a cake in the shape of the book, and it was great.
Are there dinosaurs in the book?
There's oil. So, in a certain sense.
Is it? That's not a dinosaur.
That's science.
Very dead dinosaur.
So I'm going back to my screen. So I am playing Uriel, who in D&D 5e is a dwarf monk. In our setting is a cybernetically enhanced human on the path to full mechanization. And Uriel uses he, they pronouns. And that leaves the wonderfully double-barreled Ali DM.
Ali DM. Yeah, I'm just thinking, like, full mechanization is such a metal thing to be like after as a concept. I mean, with pun not intended.
The metal by Tenacious D is just constantly playing in Uriel's head.
Yeah,
yeah, so true.
More Tenacious D songs.
Oh, we could. Okay, something for the future.
We're not going to get Jack Black on the show. If that's what you're thinking.
Not with that attitude. I use he, him pronouns, and yes, I would just say that. So this whole world, it's all D&D. It's just been reskinned to give it a scientific kind of core, which is what's so awesome about it. Roll film.
Roll film. We'll see you on the other side.
So, where were we? Our party of intrepid adventurers had found themselves deep in the bayou of Brexigentu. The
song that played
has not been heard yet. They crash landed in the bayou in a ship which was also a tooth. Confusingly, they had a long and difficult conversation. Oh dear. With a creature of some sort which had been sent to kill them. They found out, and they spared that creature's life and set off through the bayou, searching for a way to get to Gunka, the main city on this planet of Brexigentu. And as they traipsed through the swamp, they saw some strange lights off in the distance, but they disappeared before they could reach them. They ate some mushrooms to keep their strength up, and as the afternoon wore on, they found themselves at a strange changing point in the composition of the swamp, whereas before it had been mostly large trees like oak and swamp sycamore and all that kind of jazz, bulrushes, grass, clumps of land, and standing pools around. Now the trees had changed, started to become embedded in thick alluvial silt and mud. The going had become a lot harder. There were strange wooden sort of finger-like root tendrils sticking up out of the ground. and your guide, Infinity, who you were leading the party, felt that to go on would be difficult and maybe even treacherous. So, you had decided to strike out for the nearest river. This whole area is crisscrossed and cut through with channels that divide these silty patches and these tree-covered mangrove enclaves. So you wade through the mud, each footstep sucking and
That was really satisfying.
popping through this silty, grey, silty surroundings. Infinity, you're going first, spying out where you see just the edge of a channel, a break in the trees, which you think might mean a larger watercourse. Uriel, you're in the centre of the party. As you go, your metal joints start scraping together. You realise that the water itself is doing something to your mechanical settings. Can you roll me a Constitution saving throw?
Yep.
No, I thought it was just
no,
Uriel
Uriel.
last time.
Not built for this.
Technically, oh no. I guess I
Ooh,
am.
con throw. That is a 21.
Ooh.
You summon your inner reserves of strength, perhaps some of the things that you've learnt in your recent upgrade, perhaps, and you push on, confident that you can make it to wherever you're headed before anything really serious goes wrong. At the back, Tenebris, you are pushing away through the mud, through the trail left by your two friends, and still the memory of those dancing lights weighs on your mind. You wonder if you heard that slight chortle of laughter.
We
when
will
they were
just
nearby.
keep looking out just to see if we can see.
Yes, I mean, I would like to see any lights that or animals, birds, anything. That would be great.
Everybody roll a perception check.
Yay!
Come on, I tested all my dice for the first time in ages.
It just means
Oh, good, I rolled a 5. Good.
you
good,
burned out all the
Uh,
good rolls.
I might have done.
Some-
It's 11 total.
It's direct
12.
sunlight, isn't it?
It is direct sunlight.
Oh no, it wasn't even a D20. That was a D8.
You're stuck with it now.
12.
12, 12, and 11. The coverage of of leaves here and tree matter is actually slightly thicker than it was in the swamp, which had patches of light breaking through. And everything's quite monochrome here. It's as though the moisture rising off the water and the mud forms a slight haze, and the greyness of the mud itself has spattered different parts of the trunks of these trees, and it's difficult to get a good sense of anything much more than 60 feet away. You push on towards what you think is this channel. As you approach, you start to see in front of you a river through the trees, maybe 40 to 50 feet away now. Wide, really wide body of water. You can't quite see to the other side yet. Infinity,
Yeah.
pushing forwards, your feet sinking deeper and deeper into the mud, holding onto the roots of these trees to give yourself leverage as you move.
Mm.
Roll me...
Oh no.
No, what's your passive perception?
16.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Wisdom caster.
Wisdom, baby.
No, you've got all those sensors, is what you mean.
I mean,
Yes, so many
sensors,
sensors on
many
Infinity.
sensors.
You
Yeah.
can't terraform a planet
Robots.
if you don't know what's there.
Exactly. You have to be able to see it.
As you're approaching the bank of this river, cutting through the mangrove swamp, you catch sight of something out the corner of your eye. A little flash of red. And it's maybe 50 feet away from you.
Was it moving?
You turn to look. It's not moving, no.
Oh. Tenebris, Uriel, do you see that?
Is it the more little lights?
Oh no, the red thing over there. It doesn't fit.
Is it a glowing red thing or like a kind of organic red thing?
I don't know.
Also, what where?
Over there. Can I
It is
tell whether
vague.
it's
It's very vague.
Yeah, I'm pointing. Infinity is pointing because she has seen it.
Is it near, far, in a tree, in the water?
Wherever you
Flying?
50 feet
about-
away.
It's
How
about
far is
50
that?
feet away it's towards the bank of the river.
Like we're coming up to the closest bank of the river, and it's
You
like
are approaching the bank,
ahead of us.
That
at
it's
the
on.
bank. Okay.
and this red object appears to be on the bank of the river, but just a little bit
Oh.
further down from where you currently are.
Cool. Okay.
Does it look
The
like-
bank that you get to, it's not like a kind of thickly wooded jungle bank. What it's more like is that the slope of these silt barriers basically drops down into the river itself. So there's almost a little space where it's just these strange wooden roots sticking up out of the mud before you get to the river proper. So maybe a couple of meters worth of just flat mud.
Okay. Does it look like a person or a creature
Are we
or a plant?
closer now? We move towards
Yeah, we're
it and
moving
take
towards it.
a closer look.
As you get closer and closer, you realise this isn't a person, it's not a living thing. And as you round the side of one of the thicker mangrove trees with the hot afternoon sun now beating down on your head, you see that what it is a boat.
Deja vu.
Our home game has some bad times with the boat.
Oh,
so-
I
God,
meant
I
this
totally
one. I
forgot
meant
about
this
that.
game.
Oh.
I meant the fact that we went
Oh.
to
Yeah.
the
Right.
ravine
Oh
and
god, just
someone had, like,
boats.
left a
Just-
boat and
So many boats. Okay.
was at the wrong end though, wasn't it? the
If
boat
we
that
ever do a
found?
campaign that's like nautically themed, we are
We're
so
gonna die
screwed.
immediately. Yeah.
or like a one shot or something.
Yeah.
It's so it's a little dinghy, right? A little outboard boat, very small, would only take maybe one or two people in it maximum.
Oh.
And as you approach it, you see there are two oars still in the oar locks, and an outboard motor on the back,
Oh.
which is lifted up, and the whole boat is just come to rest on this mud bank.
And on the bank, there is a tiger, a sheep, and a chicken.
And a bag of grain.
You must get all of them across.
The farmer says,
Tiger's hidden
please
in the
help
boat,
me."
and we're not going to find the tiger in the boat until we're at sea.
Wait, okay, I would like to go over to the
Guys.
boat, please.
As you approach the boat, you break out of the tree line. And now, at last, you can see over the river itself. It's very wide. And even though the water seems to be sluggish, it doesn't look like as though it's moving at all, you know that this far down an estuary closer to the sea, that the water underneath must be moving quite fast, dragging this kind of mud and soil all the way out into the channel.
And this is the direction of the what we think is the direction of the fire that we saw on the way down.
Yes, we
have
want to
cross
follow
over.
the river, right? Or cross over the river.
One of
This
Sue's.
is the direction that Uriel wanted to go, because Uriel looked into when you were looking at the sky, you asked what colour it was.
Yes.
And you saw that in this direction the sky was in fact a slightly whiter colour, which might indicate that there was salt in the water vapour around there. So that was the direction that you
Beach.
headed. And it seems like this channel, this river, is moving in that direction.
Okay.
Across the river, you see another vessel, much larger this time.
Oh.
And this is about 20 meters away across this channel. And
I thought you said the river. Wait, is this not the widest bit of the river? This is a
This
side
is-
channel.
The boat's
So-
on our side, the red boat.
Oh, sorry.
then
You
the
said it was too
river is
wide.
20
We couldn't
meters.
see the other side of the bank from where we were,
Yeah.
but we can now. It's not like I thought it was like Amazon levels, hugely wide. Okay, sorry.
No.
Right. It's 20 meters.
this is a
wide,
kind
okay.
this is one of many of the kind of estuary sort of delta channels that are split up through this whole delta. all of which seem to be draining out in one direction. And on the other side of this channel, you see a larger boat. It looks like a junker's barge. So flat, not especially long, quite wide, and from this distance you can't make up a huge amount about it. But it seems to be stationary.
Does the boat on our side look like it's been there for a while? Does it look like it's been quite recently put there?
Roll an investigation check.
Nice.
Investigate the shit out of
That's a
this
good
with my
question.
12.
I like it. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can see that it's not marked, especially. So it's not as though there have been lots of rainstorms, or as though it's gotten unduly muddy, or it's covered in any sort of leaf litter or anything. It does appear to have been fairly recently brought over to this side of the channel.
Can I see if there's like any foot tracks or anything of anyone going away from the river?
Roll either investigation or survival.
Survival, please. Thanks. Yeah. 24.
One of the rarer instances of a skill being used exactly as it was intended in D&D 5e.
That's the actual D&D way of using it.
Infinity, you bend down towards there and get your face level with this silty.
Screens, I'll get muddy.
It looks what? Like half her face is covered in silt.
They do get muddy, and it's a new feeling for you. You felt it on your legs.
Sorry,
Right.
Emily hates this because
This-
Infinity is so pretty.
This is what I've been saying this whole time. This place is awful.
Infinity's
You do.
fine,
You feel the slick surface of the mud on your face, and when you lift your face up, it feels slightly cooler. And in fact, you get a momentary taste. The water's brackish. It's not fresh water anymore. It's got a slight taste of salt to it.
I think
and
we're near the sea.
you look along at the level.
Chat of opportunity, very briefly.
Already. Go
No,
on.
it was just an idea that hit me. Because if you terraform a planet, right, and you add a huge amount of water to it, the oceans wouldn't necessarily be salty. Because they're salty because of runoff from the land, right? And
You
picking up.
don't know how much the planet was terraformed.
But no, I'm not saying specifically about
question.
Braixigantu.
Even if you brought a load of water and you added it to a planet, it wouldn't necessarily be salty.
Wait, where's the salt come from?
I'm
now?
pretty sure the salt content in the ocean has come
Like
from
minerals.
when it has been evaporated up and then rained onto land. It has brought a certain amount of minerals with it. It's because the oceans are just a lot of water all in one place.
Does anybody know? Because
But are you saying that
feels quite.
But that process
accumulates
takes
over
like
time?
it takes like a billion years.
So when oceans first form on a planet, they
I
will be
believe
fresh,
so.
and like literally over the millennia.
Is that what happens?
Hang on, I'm just
amazing.
I'm just having a
But
quick look.
presumably it takes that long to reach the same sort of concentrations of minerals that are in our current
Yeah.
seas. But it wouldn't take long for like a really easily
Maybe-
dissolvable mineral in high quantity to just.
So according to Noah,
Depends how
rocks on land are the major source of salts dissolved in seawater.
Right.
Noah.
As in the National Oceanographic and Atmospheric
You know,
Administration.
Noah. You know,
Noah.
Sorry,
down the road.
that's-
Ali, do you not know?
Okay.
That's
Noah.
probably a very specific acronym that I am very used to. Sorry.
I did roll off your tongue.
I double took on that one. I was like, who's that? Oh, Noah.
But yeah, so like it's basically a question of how quickly do you overturn the whole contents of an ocean, considering how much is evaporated and precipitated out. So if I'm not saying that this is the case of Braixigantu, but on a terraformed planet, the oceans wouldn't actually be necessarily very different in salinity to everywhere else.
If you had added all the water.
If
there
you'd
weren't
added
any
all the water,
existence.
yeah.
Yeah.
If it was just a ball of rock beforehand. Unless something about the terraforming itself meant that you essentially just dissolved a lot of minerals.
Yeah,
into
because
the
it could be
water
that it was a
something.
much colder planet. You added a load of, say, methane to the atmosphere, melted ice caps, and then
You would assume that it was a hot process, all the energy.
Yeah.
Anyway,
sorry. Just that was a thought that struck me. Sorry, interesting science.
Anyway,
Infinity. You lower, covered in mud now. Like Arnold Schwarzenegger, it's predator time. And you're down at eye level, looking through these roots. The roots are now like a little tiny forest, or wooden forest of bare, sparse, sort of
Fingers.
tree trunks, fingers sticking out of the mud. And what you see is divots. slight divots in the mud,
Oh.
as though someone had walked through there,
Ooh.
but that it had been washed away somewhat, but not enough to completely get rid of the mark.
Okay.
And these footsteps lead away from the boat and into the mangrove forest, downstream of where you've come from.
Oh, so further along. So
Yeah,
not they haven't come from where we've just been. They have somewhere.
No, it's if they were going deeper into the mangrove swamps towards what you assume would be the sea.
Oh, which is the way we want to go.
Hmm.
Maybe we should follow these footsteps. I don't think we should steal someone's boat. Do you?
We could wait until they come back. Maybe they will give us lift in boat.
Well, I
Oh,
for
the big
once,
boat,
I do
maybe.
actually agree with Tenebra's. We're kind of in the middle of nowhere here. We're just in the middle of a horrible swampy bit, and the more help we can get, the better. They don't know who we are. We're just people who are lost.
Do you just want to sit in the boat for a bit so you get you're less damp?
That may be a consideration as well.
Yeah. Okay. We can wait, but they might be a long time. We don't know where they've gone. They could have be gone forever.
Can you see if there is anyone on the other side in the big boat that we can like wave to, like help, help? We are shipwrecked survivors.
Yes, I'll look.
Which is technically true.
It's a different kind of ship.
Anyone who wants to could roll a perception check to see if they can see what's going on.
I see, not me. My eyes
Oh,
hurt.
god damn, the perception's not happening today. 9.
7.
It is difficult to make out. The sun at the moment is at a sort of 45-degree angle in the sky, really beating down, reflecting off the water. Everything's very bright suddenly now that you're out from underneath the leaves of these trees. And all you can make out really is the shape of the boat. You can see that there's no movement on top of it. That's
Okay.
about it.
Okay. Well. Oh god, I have guidance. Why do I keep forgetting? Fuck.
Infinity?
Yes.
Can you? Like no one just leaves 2 boats here forever without coming back to get their boats. Could you get across and see and see if people are there?
Yes, I could try.
Can you? I don't know. I just think sometimes you're a leopard or a spider. Could you?
No. Well, I could. I don't know. It's interesting. I feel like my swimming program hasn't quite reactivated yet, so I couldn't swim across if that's what you're asking. Unless I could turn into an animal, but it would be.
How
up
else
to
would you
them.
get across?
With the boat?
Oh, we just borrow the boat briefly.
Borrow it to say hi.
Just say hi to the other boat, and then we
Yes.
bring it back.
And if you two waited here, then it would be like, oh no, we haven't taken your boat.
Yeah, I feel like we don't want to antagonize the people we immediately meet. I felt like the first couple of
I
days,
agree.
the first people we meet, we immediately
Yeah.
do something wrong and piss them off.
We want to make friends and good impressions.
We've stolen a lot of ships.
We stole
of the,
one
of the
ship.
flying
Oh, kind of two.
Accidentally.
At the time, they were kind of one ship because they'd merged together.
That's a good way of thinking. I mean, they hadn't merged when we stole the first one, and then we stole the second one after it had merged. So and then
Right.
took it away from her ship. So I don't think logically that is correct.
We
However, I
acquired a
just think
ship.
we
That
should
ship
steal
acquired a
third
ship,
one.
and by logic, it became a subclass of that ship. So
I
ship.
don't think we want to be ship thieves. I don't think that's our vibe.
No.
Vibe.
Ships
Finishing
deserve more
so
respect
far.
than that. It's something that
No more theft. I agree. We are
Okay.
upstanding citizens. We will
Great.
make friends. Yes.
So I shan't get in the boat and go across then.
Well, no, but you can. But we will stay here and just
We can borrow. Is
borrow.
borrowing different if you don't give it back?
No,
by
we give it back.
accident?
But
give
we
it
are
back.
gonna
No,
give it
we
back.
will
What if
definitely-
something happens and then we
don't
can't give it back?
crash the boat on halfway. We'll
I
be
don't,
very
I don't think I've ever sailed a boat before.
That is a good point. You have no expertise in this area.
happen
No.
again, isn't it?
How does the boat? Okay, I will.
Okay,
Don't worry.
let's-
I will
no,
analyze
I tell you
this
what,
boat
yes.
for motor and thrust
Yeah,
mechanism and
it's-
see if it looks hard to drive.
Right. Do we think the motor is working? That's a good question to
That's
begin
a
with.
good question.
We look at the motor.
We investigate.
I feel like Uriel's probably the logical person to have a look at the mechanical pits of this boat.
Please,
Off you go, Uriel.
I'll give it a look.
I will help. I will help.
Oh, and also,
Roll with
taps her on the
advantage.
shoulder. I really believe in you, Uriel. And I'm going to cast guidance. So,
Gaming the
D4.
system.
You know what? That actually does really make a difference.
Yes, thank you. It definitely works for Uriel. Just infinity touching him definitely works.
I've seen a lot of boats, so I would probably be quite helpful.
Considering how like the last time this worked, I think it means that she ghosts him every time.
Just goes behind and be like, I can help. Look. Not ghosts for anyone who doesn't know what we're talking about. Not ghosts as in
Text
ignores
and then-
him forever. As in Demi Moore and Patrick Swayze ghosts on the pottery wheel.
I got a. So was this investigation? Was this?
Yeah.
I got a 13 on my roll, and then what was the? It was plus D4.
Add a D4. Did you roll with advantage?
Oh, sorry. Did you give me advantage?
Yeah.
Oh, yep. I'll roll. Sorry, I'll roll that again. Nope. So it's 13 and plus D4. That's a 1. So
Oh, God.
14.
I maybe should have done this.
Yeah, you can't see any sign of any sort of scratches. It's there's a bit of wear and tear on it. It's obviously been well used. It is a little bit strange, whereas you can see that it lifts up, so you can keep it in the down position when the rotor's in the water, or you can angle it upwards so the rotor's out of the water. And you would have thought maybe if you were coming into a silty bank of mud, you would have lifted the rotor up, but it seems to be down. But apart from that, the thing looks as though it's working. I mean, and it looks pretty simple to use as well.
Okay, before we
It'll
do
be easier
anything
than a
else-
spaceship, right?
Yes, I
Easier to
think
fly
so.
than a bloody spaceship.
You would hope, wouldn't
We
you?
crashed.
That spaceship was like 5D chess. Like, this is checkers. Surely.
We can do this. I believe in us.
Okay, you say that, but you want me to go, right?
I believe in you specifically, Infinity.
Okay, great. Okay, cool.
Wait.
I just
Wait, hang on. I mean, is there anywhere around here that's like out of the mud and out of the
Oh yeah.
silty bits?
Oh yeah.
You could try and climb a tree, yeah?
Maybe Uriel should go.
Well, no, maybe I should just go with
I
Infinity.
just don't think
Maybe you
I
should
don't think
both
either
go.
of no, I don't want to leave you on your own.
We'll stand here in the mud
Oh, God,
by
it's
I
myself.
think you
It's
two should
fine.
stay there. I'm sorry, Uriel. You just
I
a few
just want to
minutes.
get the. Okay.
Okay.
I'll
Here,
I'm gonna go climb
I'll
that tree.
craft him another buttercup. Here you go.
Thank you.
Maybe if we make multiple trips back and forth, we can get us all across without us eating each other.
Oh yes, like the farmer.
Do that one trick where
That'd be
we,
great.
on the way
So,
back,
yes,
one of us
so-
comes back.
Yes, you didn't think of that. Yes.
Tenebris and Uriel can't be left alone together because they'll kill each other.
Yeah.
So there's a
Or else
problem.
Oh no, wait, we need someone to
Tenebris would
take
happen.
us backwards and forwards. Anyway.
We need what's it called when like old timey people had a person crash the date deliberately?
Oh what?
Third wheel.
Tiny people.
Like an anti-wingman.
Oh, like a accompanier, like a
Yeah.
Oh, a
Chaperone, exactly.
Yes. I like how you did that as Tenebris.
No.
Anyway,
it's very familiar.
never
Okay.
break character.
Okay.
Right. Yes. Okay. Well, I'll give it a go then. Oh, seems so dangerous. I will get into the boat and try and start the boat up.
And so there are oars on the boat as well.
Great.
But you're
rubbish.
using the motor.
I'm not
Yeah.
strong,
No.
so no, we're not going to be using that today.
Okay. Well, then just roll a straight dexterity check.
Oh, just Dex. Cool. Can't wait. Okay, it wasn't bad. 15.
You can hear the propeller beating itself against the mud at the bottom of the boat, and the boat just slightly sort of inches its way forward in the mud.
Okay. Forward enough to go.
All right, you're in it as well. Yeah.
Yeah,
So you
yeah,
get
yeah,
in
yeah.
it, you turn it round without issue, and
Look, they're
start.
nailing the boat driving. This is great.
This is so exciting.
and this who is in the boat?
Just,
Uriel has climbed a tree. This is.
you're doing great.
Thank you. Wait, as I start sailing away, what am I meant to say to them?
Please, can we have a lift somewhere?
Right. Okay. Yes.
Yeah. Also, where are we? That would be kind of useful to know.
I like that too. Yes.
Do they have any jobs available?
I'm not going to ask that immediately, Tenebris.
We believe in you.
Thank you.
This is awkwardly slow, isn't it?
It is. It's like when you say goodbye to someone. I don't know.
It's gone like
I'm a
5
robot.
feet in this whole time.
Angling yourself into the current,
I miss
which
you
now
already.
realize is quite strong. You make your way towards this boat, As you get closer, you start to see more detail on it. You can see that this boat is quite well maintained, but it's old. Clearly, it's been around a long time, but it's received a lot of love. It's in clear working condition, but you still see no sign of life. You see 3 brass-rimmed portholes, circular portholes on the side, come closer and closer. And as you approach the side of the boat with boom, as you rustle up against it, it's made of steel, galvanized steel.
Great.
And you can bring your face level with one of these portholes and look inside. Roll me a perception check.
Oh my God, if there's anyone in there, they just see robot.
I'm
Infinity,
worried
like,
about Ali Jennings pulling a classic Ali Jennings here.
I know, I rolled very well. Did you say perception?
Stab through the porthole.
25.
Smash! Pulls you through the porthole. Welcome
And that was
aboard!
the end
Bang,
of
bang, bang!
Affinity.
25.
25.
You can see the paws, the individual paws on the man who stabs you.
As the knife comes towards your face, you notice the maker's mark on it.
Oh, yeah.
You look through the scuffed glass of this porthole, ever so slightly greyed, and inside it's much darker, so it's difficult to see in the very bright light of outside, but you do just about make out the shape of what's in there. You can see simple furnishings, mostly wooden inside, with some softer parts and softer cushions where there's a seating area. You see a varnished wooden table in the middle, set up, and with what looks like pieces of paper laid out on the table.
Lovely.
You see a stool next to it, and you see a mug of some kind of liquid sat next to these bits of paper.
No one drinking that
I
mug.
hope this isn't the Mary Celeste. Jeez.
Yeah.
You don't see anyone there. You look left, you look
Where'd you see
right.
Sorry.
And now at this point, you can see what the dimensions of the ship are. It's not much more than 20 feet long. It has what looks like a
Oh, it's quite small.
bow cabin, which is shut off from the main area. But other than that, it's all one area in the one main area, apart from this bow cabin, which you can't see into.
Great. Okay.
The other thing that catches your eye is that everywhere else there's all sorts of bits of junk, it looks like gubbins and salvage and bits of metal and old pieces of machinery and just little objects, and you can even see on the table a little vial of some sort of liquid, maybe, that seems to be on the table next to these pieces of paper.
Emily
This
thinks
whole-
she knows.
I don't
Simon's
know what.
face, man. Oh,
This
Carry on.
whole place is filled with these different things that appear to have been collected.
okay. But there's no one in it.
Not that you can see now.
Okay. Well, no one there. I'll try and turn the boat around and go back.
Just like look round the side. What if they're
Oh, okay.
hiding
Oh, yeah.
round
No,
the
no, no. I'll
side?
go round a
Look
bit. I'll go round a bit.
thoroughly.
I have looked quite thoroughly. I got to
You
25.
just looked inside. You didn't like. What if they're just hiding behind the boat or behind a
Okay,
tree?
I
and
will.
shout.
I will go to the other shore.
We
I will
discussed
go to
this
the other
beforehand.
shore and get off.
My theory is that
Oh,
bottle.
that's true. I would shout.
That
Shout
bottle is
hello.
a humidifier, and they accidentally put like invisibility potion in it.
It's a weird
Just-
theory. It's a
So
weird.
you've ended up
Very
on the far
weird
shore,
theory.
Infinity. You've ended up on the far shore, and now you're
Yes.
calling inside.
I'm not calling it. I just walk around the side of the shore to see the other side of the boat.
So this part of the shore, the boat's moored up. So you can now see that there are ropes attaching the bow and the stern to mangrove trees as well. And the boat's actually just rocking ever so slightly against the mud. It's not jammed onto the mud bank itself. So it looks as though it could leave or come and go whenever it pleased. And that it's been moored here.
I'll can I get on it?
Yeah.
I'll get on the boat. Hello? I'm
Um,
Infinite Sky 6000.
Can we hear this from where Tenebris and I are?
Yeah, you can. But it sounds a little far away, a little reedy. compared to her normal rich, dulcet tones, beautifully created with the audio software that you assume she's downloaded from a reputable
Why, thank you
source.
so much.
It's like liquid honey. Honey is often liquid, but it's like the liquid form of honey. And
Is honey?
yes.
No, that's not.
Quite solid if you leave it, actually.
That's
But is it
true,
actually?
it's
But is it
happened
like
to
a
me.
super cooled liquid or something, where it's actually still got a viscosity to it? I don't know if it is technically.
What,
solid.
even if it's solid?
on hard.
But does it when it becomes a wax? Is it a crystal?
Probably just dry.
I think it is a
isn't
crystal, right?
No, wax
Honey
is-
crystallizes.
But then glass is a crystal, and it's
Is it
also
sugar,
not
right?
technically a solid.
It's sugar, so it's just
wax a
crystallizing.
crystal?
Is sugar a liquid?
No.
Wow.
I
Don't know how that
think we can
helps,
safely say sugar isn't a liquid, unless it's liquid sugar. If you melt sugar enough, it becomes a liquid.
Oh God.
Okay,
but anything.
DnDebrief on honey, I guess.
Yeah.
I'll go on the ship. Hello?
You climb aboard the ship, and I'm gonna. What would you like to do with the dinghy? You're just gonna let it float away?
No. I would like to very much lift up the engine out of the water and like push it onto the bank. So it's like, I'm not going anywhere. I'm not leaving that until I am sure it's staying.
Without issue, you secure the dinghy and make your way onto the boat.
Okay.
You listen.
This is how I die.
You don't hear anything. Just the sounds of the swamp, the singing of the insects, the cicadas, and the beating of the afternoon sun on your metal forehead.
That's a very evocative sentence. I really like that.
On your metal forehead.
You hear nothing? Looking down into the gangway, what you see in front of you is a tiller. So you're standing on the aft deck. There's a tiller.
The hun.
There's very simple controls. So a throttle, not much else.
Bloody Mongols.
And
Hunnick, not Mongol.
Oh, bollocks, you're right. Shit, of course it is. Idiot. Me.
and then the gangway leading down into the boat itself, where it is darker down there. But
You should go
you've
check
seen
that
a
out.
lot of what's in there already.
For sure.
Infinity!
Yeah, I'm going. Yes!
Is there anybody there?
Not that I can see, but I'm gonna go check.
Are you sure it's a good idea on your own? Because the whole reason we're over here is because we didn't want to spook people. So if there's no one there, maybe we could come join you.
How are you going to do that?
Well, you could come back over in the boat, and then we could come with you.
That seems like a lot of work. I'm just going to check if it's interesting, and then I'll come back to you.
Please come back to us.
I'll try. And I go down.
You enter into the inside of this boat. It's homely in here, warm, well laid out. What are you looking for, if anything?
Just looking, really. Just anything interesting. Might have a read of some papers. Might pick up some vials of stuff and just sort of have a look around. Just poke around a bit.
Roll an investigation check.
She hasn't got sort of an objective to find anything, but she's natural 20.
Oh,
I told you I hadn't practiced my dice, and what would I do? I tested them. Natural 20. It's the same one.
mean?
Such good dice. +4 if it helps.
You concentrate.
Give me everything.
You scan. And your first thought is to go over to the desk to see if you can work out what's been going on here. You scan the papers, and what you see are their charts, shipping charts. And what they appear to be of is a cove, so a very large sort of bay. And this is one particular area of it. You can see that at the back, on the northern part of the chart, is an area marked shifting mangroves, which has
Shifting mangroves. Oh God. Okay. Carry on.
which has islands traced out on it, and then each island is dated.
Okay. Do I get the I don't know the date, do I? I've never worked out
What's
the
the
date.
But what is the date on
What
now?
does the date
What's the-
say?
what's the- Oh no,
What
we
did the
know
date-
that one.
No, we know
It's-
that one.
oh,
No,
yeah,
okay, so
we
no,
know
I
that
do
one.
know. I know the year,
It's-
don't I?
yeah, it's
Something, but it's not you. No good to me.
730
Okay, fine.
something,
Yeah, fine. Oh, so excited for a second.
Yeah.
But you do see that the dates go back a few months, and different islands are dated with different ones of those. And
How much space is in between each of the dates? Is it like, are they working through like one a day, or is it like a few days or weeks on each of the different islands?
It seems like, so looking at the scale, these islands are less than, some of them are up to a mile wide, but most of them are much smaller. And it looks like they come in clumps. So there'll be a single date for a few of them in the same area, and then a couple of days later there'll be a different date for some other ones. And maybe one of the largest ones will have just one date on them. And you see contour lines, but the contour lines are depth.
Okay.
And you're seeing south of these the moving mangrove islands, shifting mangroves, you see contours staying relatively the same depth, so not a huge amount of drop off. Then you see what looks like a shelf marked shelf reef, fringing reef,
Reef.
which is a couple of miles out. Then a sharp drop, and then as the water gets deeper and deeper, you start to see X's marked on the ocean floor.
We're gonna be pirates, are.
These X's don't just occur there. These are the first ones that catch your eye because they're the largest, but you also see much smaller ones dotted all the way up into the shifting mangroves. And some of them have little question marks on them, some of them are much fainter.
So just to be clear, are these X's in the shallow area or in the deeper area?
Both.
So the larger X's, the more the ones that are more made with more confidence, are in the deeper area, and in the shallower area, you're seeing these smaller ones. Some of the X's are in just scribbled out.
Cool. Can I just want to like take in that information without taking the paper. I don't know if you'll let me. Infinity have a way of like chink chink with a like little photographic memory. I have no ability in 5e that would technically give me that.
No, but if you're talking about
apart from the fact she's smart.
I mean, if you're talking about the exact location of the X's, no, you can't do that.
Yeah, I'm being cheeky. Okay, fine.
But you could absolutely, take the piece of paper if you wished.
Right, she's not stealing.
So you continue to look around. You see some handwritten notes in the corner, again with dates. Again, as you get well towards the south of one of these charts, right into quite deep water, you see a little handwritten sign that says Scylla? ? Underlined, double underlined.
Scylla, like Scylla Black, or SILA, or
SCYLLA.
Cool. SCYY.
Was not expecting that.
SCYLLA.
Double. That makes more sense.
And that was in the shallows.
No, that's
No,
deep.
it's way
so
south.
south.
Way
Even
out into the sea. Yeah.
As you go south,
now
you're
I
going
want the
into the bay.
I'll look around a bit more. I would now like to try and find anything with references to Scylla.
So there's a lot here.
Okay, great.
And as you kind of work your way through these little objects, these bric-a-brac, some of it looks pretty. It doesn't look as though it has much worth. It looks like whoever's here has been taking bits and bobs and basically whatever they can find, and in the hope that maybe they'll lead to something. You think some of them, these are in hope rather than expectation, but you do find two things which catch your eye. The first is this vial of liquid. It's a cloudy green, and the vial has a clip top, so it's clipped shut at the moment. And you can see in there is a bubble floating, but it's not like a bubble of water. So it's not like the meniscus between air and water. It looks like it's a membrane. So a little membranous bubble just floating up and down in that liquid. The other thing you see here in this part of the cabin is a little bag. And it, to all intents and purposes, it looks pretty normal, right? And it's just hung up on a hook by the door. But what you notice is that when you look inside, there's no light reflecting back at you.
Emily's D&D brain is going insane.
We had a very firm stance on theft.
We
As you're
do.
looking,
We do.
We're all now regretting.
Massively regretting that conversation.
you also see
I have a plan.
that the mug of liquid, so as you're feeling around, you touch this mug and it's still warm. It's not hot, so it's tea, right? Looks like tea. It's not hot, but it is still a little bit warm, warmer than the surrounding air temperature.
When I realised that, hello? Is anyone here? I just want to talk.
Roll a intelligence saving throw.
Saving throw! Oh, I've got really good. I've got really good intelligence saving.
Don't say that.
Oh no! Why did I say that? Question: is it
Hi.
anything to do with being charmed or being put to sleep?
Intelligence.
No.
Okay, fine.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't roll that well, guys. I didn't roll that well.
Oh, no.
Why did you say it?
I don't
Why?
know. I was feeling confident. 12.
Something inhaled up into your nose. It's just the slightest.
I don't have a nose.
Touche.
It's not going to save you.
It's totally not going to save me. It's not going to make a difference. I think she does have a nose as well.
The slightest hint of dust, it feels like. And then you feel like a little bit lightheaded for a second, a little bit woozy, and then it passes. And you're left alone, and you hear nothing, you see nothing.
Okay.
That's fine.
And just to be clear, you don't know that.
Yeah, that's fine.
All you
Yeah.
get is this little piece of
Yeah,
dust.
that's fine. Oh, that was strange. Right, so now we're not allowed to steal anything, but I was allowed to borrow the ship. So maybe if I borrowed these things and took them to the other two, they could tell me what they were, because maybe they're like a human thing that I don't know about, and they could teach me. And that sounds like a good plan. Okay, I'm going to take the bag
Wow.
and the vial and the map and just
Glorious
wander out.
justification. I love it.
Yay, infinity.
Okay.
And I'm going to
As-
toddle out. Hopefully, please.
Can we cut back to me and Uriel for a bit before?
We're in separate
Yeah, so-
trees.
I'm not in a tree. I'm at the bottom of Uriel's tree.
Uh,
Uriel!
yeah?
Hey, so this Martin's Bane sounds like it must be a pretty good place, huh?
I mean, it's kind of all I've known up until I came here, so, it's pretty great. I mean, the reason I'm here is because I wanted to leave, but, I've wanted to go back eventually, so, I'm quite happy about the idea of going back.
So tell me about it. What's it like? Is it underground?
Oh, it's fantastic. Well, there is there is a ground, but it's more of a kind of sort of centrifugally activated kind of gravity, situation. So it's like a ring. The whole shipping yard is like a gigantic ring, and then we are on the outside where the gravity's sort of kind of like 1G standard.
Grow nice crops there?
No. Well, the thing about Martin's Bane is it's basically solely geared to the production, the manufacture of void ships. So, anything that's not to do with that can be brought in. So, we get your nutrient pastes, we get the other kind of nutrient pastes, all the things you need to live, basically. We recycle all the water. So, of course, there's some that goes into the ships, but then we get some tankers coming. The logistics of a shipping yard in space is actually really interesting. Yeah, that's the whole thing about it. I'm not sure it's necessarily your speed. It's very
Get used to it. I'm very flexible, and I have a lot of transferable skills.
Yes, I've seen you've been in terms of getting us this far. You have been extremely viable, and your outputs have been have been very, very valued. So
like which?
But when we were getting onto the shuttlecraft, you did something with the captain, your friends. You're the cloud. You taught them.
Well, yeah, but we aren't going to do that anymore. So.
Well, I mean,
we don't do that. Like, mostly we don't do that kind of thing at all because we're just like really nice and chill.
Well, we're nice and chill up until the point where the mission parameters dictate that we're not anymore. But for the most part, I kind of get on board with this.
But like Martin's Bane, what I mean is like I could do lots of useful things, not like but nice chill things, right? Like I could. I could serve the nutrient paste in the cafe.
Yeah, I'm sure that is something you could do very well, seeing your skill set. I know the people at the canteen, so I'm sure I could put in a good word for you. It's because I normally take my meals with the other brothers, and it's a bit. It's more of a treat to go to the canteen. But yeah, I'm sure I can.
That sounds pretty cool if it's like a special canteen treat, but you are like in with all the. Okay, that sounds great. I could also be a very good personal assistant as long as it is for a nice person.
Okay. I'm sure that the manufactoriums would love to hear from you. Let's just talk about this when we get there, okay?
This is great. I just feel like I have lots of options, and I'm just feeling really good about this. Martin, who's Martin?
You know what? I've never thought to ask. It's just a name. It could be called Manufacturing Center Alpha, for all I know. In fact, that would probably be a more logical name because it's sort of in terms of output, it is the highest ranked in the sector. So it would make more sense.
Highest ranked in sector.
But then I suppose if it was a dynamic name, that they'd probably change it because as soon as you were the second highest ranked, you'd be called Manufacturing.
As this is happening, we cut back.
Sure, how long we were going to go? I was enjoying it so much.
To inside this boat.
Infinity,
you're holding in one hand the bag, in another hand is it the vial of liquid?
Yeah, vial, and I got the paper under my arm.
And you got the paper on your arm.
Sorry, that makes it sound like you got a newspaper. you're
Yeah,
trotting down the stairs in the morning.
Done a little thing.
I've done the Wordle this morning.
Oh, actually, can I sling? Is the bag like a long shoulder strap?
It is.
I'll just sling it over my shoulder.
It is.
Yeah, great. And I'll hold the two
so
guys.
you walk up into the sunlight as the sun hits the back of your head. Make a wisdom saving throw.
No. Okay, different dice.
You're
different
good at
dice.
that.
Different dice.
You've got loads of. Well, should I not say that?
No,
Sorry.
we don't.
I wasn't doing it, so
we don't
why?
tempt the fates.
Sorry.
Shamini, you bastard. 11.
Shamini, I can't.
As you step out into the light,
No. Goodbye, cruel world.
again, you get that strange, sort of dusty feeling in your nostrils, and this time it's a little bit stronger, just a touch, and you kind of feel like you want to sneeze. This is not something that you have done before.
I've never sneezed before.
What? It's great.
And you shrink.
What?
You feel
Makes no sense.
the metal components of your body
Frankie sneeze.
pull together. You feel tiny little the grains of what feel like dust and sand, separating little parts of your body, pulling them offside, keeping your intelligence, and then separating off little bits of that, and again, until finally it shapes you into a frog.
What? I'm sorry, what?
Just happened. We're gonna have look, someone is gonna have to kiss her by the end of this episode.
Oh,
Tiny metallic frog.
I volunteer as tribute. But do I look? Is it like Infinity Frog with like stars still?
Yes.
Oh,
it is.
Oh,
Have you've seen a frog before, haven't you?
I have seen a frog, but this isn't me.
Do they know
doing
what
it,
they are?
So
then? Yeah, I was gonna say.
not me
What does
doing it,
Infinity
so-
think is happening?
Infinity, you think whatever a frog would think.
right. Do I have the?
Oh,
Let me get frogs.
no.
You have the
I'm assuming
intelligence
this
of
is
a
the
frog.
polymorph spell.
Oh
Ali.
no!
This is the polymorph spell.
I'll get
in
frog stats up.
sci-fi, which we will explain.
Regular
later.
frog or giant frog?
Just a normal frog.
Oh, great, good.
Froggers,
They
froggers.
can
Cute little
swim
tree
though,
frog.
so here we go. Right.
Finally!
But it's also very dense, presumably, because it just like
Oh no! It's
sinks.
metal.
No, because I just am a frog now.
So you have a very high level sense of
Oh my God,
what-
they've got a
of
one
who you
intelligence.
are. You think that you are Infinity, and
Oh.
you're pretty sure you've got friends, but you don't know what an Infinity is.
Okay,
and
great.
You don't know.
Frogs have
think
minus
you might
5
recognise your
intelligence.
-5.
Minus they're a 1 intelligence. That's their not their
Oh.
modifier. Their stat is a 1 intelligence, which is
Amazing.
minus 5. Plus 1 on dex though.
I love
Hey,
it. This is
Um,
great.
Cool. Great. We'll hop around the deck, I guess.
Oh my
Uh,
god.
Did I get onto the deck? Is there a chance Uriel and Tenebris might have seen me and then seen me disappear? Or is that silly?
You got your
I wouldn't know
head
that.
above deck, right? The sun was hitting your face, so you could have.
I don't
seen
know
you.
that though. Okay, cool. I'm just going to have a little hop around on the deck.
Let's
Find some
have-
flies. Maybe
Yeah.
eat them.
Let's cut back for a second
Oh,
to Tenebris and Uriel.
sorry. Can I just
You're
very
right.
briefly interject with? I said Froggus because I didn't know what the Latin name of a common frog is.
Is it Froggus
Yeah.
Froggus?
It's Rana temperaria.
That's a D&D character name.
But
Yeah.
and temperaria seemingly because of the temporary nature of the frog.
Now, not
Because
not,
of the metamorphosis.
Oh, cute.
I believe
like-
so.
Rana. That's definitely D&D.
Now, not to tempt fate, but you know, if I die because I'm a frog, I might name that my next D&D, my next character. I might call them Rana Temporaria.
Oh, or possibly because they live in temporary ponds. So there's an aspect of its life cycle that is like periodic, and so
Oh.
it's
They're a tad.
All
They're
live in temporary ponds,
they're
though,
a
do they?
frog spawn. Then they're a tadpole.
yeah,
And then they're a frog. So they're temporary stages.
it would
yeah,
make sense to me.
maybe.
Whereas, because I said Froggus because the common toad is Bufo,
Yeah.
Bufo.
which is an example
know
of
that.
it's an example of a tautonym, which is a Latin name where both parts are the same. So like the common rat is Rattus Rattus.
Okay, that's amazing.
That's etymology corner. With
Let's keep talking about that.
And
Always
ignore the
open,
frog
etymology
situation.
corner. A 24-hour manning.
Yeah.
Yeah, so as Infinity, you're suddenly just driven by a desire to just have a couple of flies while you're here.
Yeah.
Why not?
I'm going to.
You've not eaten for a while.
True.
We cut back to Uriel and Tenebris, engaged in deep conversation. Maybe one of you would like to roll a perception check, but with disadvantage, given how important and meaningful this conversation is for you.
Tenebris, do you want to do it? Sorry, another example of a tautonym. The true thrush's Latin name is Turdus.
Oh no!
Gosh. They're so pretty though.
That's so pretty.
Oh, so not only are they called thrush, but also their Latin name is Turdus. Poor birds.
Oh wow!
Petition to rename them entirely.
Turdus.
Not to add an extra turd.
Ali GM. I've got disadvantage on this roll already, plus extra disadvantage.
No, it just cancels out. It's a single
Right.
disadvantage.
Good. Excellent.
God.
That's what I like to hear.
It goes back round, so you actually get advantage.
This is actually really helpful. I just rolled really nice numbers. So I just got an 18 through the glare of the freaking sun
Yes!
at a tiny distant shit.
Infinity. You love her.
So that's 18
is right.
total.
18 total, yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
As you're engaged in this quite deep and meaningful conversation about your future on Uriel's home, first you see a glint of sunlight, which is quite painful to you, off the metal of Uriel's antenna. Not Uriel's, of Infinity's antenna. As she's coming up outside of the ship, and then it's gone. It blinks out of existence. You look
'Cause I
over
don't know
and
if I'd
there's
want to look at
no
this-
one there.
I don't know if I'd want to live on like the secondary manufacturing center of.
Well, no, you got to have some kind of Did you?
I think Infinity was coming back, but now I can't see her.
Yeah, where's she gone?
Infinity, are you coming back now?
Infinity!
Infinity!
Okay, I can't help but notice that we are on this side of the river and we don't have the boat.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
I mean, let's just give it a few more minutes. Like maybe she just went back downstairs. I thought I saw her coming up, but maybe she went down again.
yeah, I thought I saw her for just like a second. No, she's not coming, is she?
Infinity, can you just
I've just seen something.
ridiculous frog
DM.
ability?
Their high jump is 5 foot.
Jump
Can
5
I
meters
just-
in the air. I'm gonna see that.
I just want to. You said that I might have friends, and
Yeah.
if there's still a hint of infinity in there, she would probably not really. Well, she would care about her friends, but if there's a hint, what I can imagine her first thought would be, "I'm a frog. Oh wow, let's see how high I can jump." Because
That's
I know
quite plausible,
frogs
actually,
can
yeah.
jump really high. So can I just do a little like whee up on the ship, not like into the water or anything, just standing jump up and down.
Yeah, I imagine
Have fun
that
as a frog, really.
on the deck of the ship, which is very hot in the sun, so your little frog feet are a bit
Oh,
uncomfortable.
no.
In fact, but you
Just keep doing it.
just up and down.
Having a great time. Grab a fly, do another jump.
Do we notice it?
It is too far away to see a very small frog jumping up and down. But you do see that Infinity is not there, and she's not answering any of your calls.
Right, how wide is this river?
20 meters.
Oh God! How high is the tree that I'm in?
You are 9 feet above the ground in the largest of these branches. So the way that these trees grow is they have one main trunk, and then there's no side trunks until they get to the sort of leaf canopy at the top, where it all spreads out as one sort of layer. And that's where you are, crunched up in that bit.
Right, okay. 20 meters. Right, okay. How pliable is the tree? Can I snap off a branch?
Yeah, roll a strength check.
Yep. What's my... Oh, nat 20. Holy shit, I could rip the fucking tree out of the ground.
Yeah, you just nut the tree into submission. What exactly are you...
Bring
trying
me
to
my robot back!
I want to... Sorry, Uriel wants to fashion some form of javelin and tie his belt to one end of it.
How long's your belt? 50 feet, did we say?
Yeah, we've used it to abseil down into like the
50
cave.
yeah, we
True,
have. It's
that's
really
true.
long.
It's long.
It's really long. But 20 meters long?
Yeah,
20
wow.
meters, what, 60,
20 meters.
70 feet?
65 feet.
We'll say
yeah,
that
just
you could
Googled
reach
it.
it, given
Yeah,
that
okay.
the boat itself is actually a little bit further out from the shore.
Yeah.
And you could even wade
Kind
into the
DM.
water a little
Good.
bit if you wanted.
Good DM, kind DM.
Right.
Yeah, so you, with that nat 20, I think it's definitely plausible for you to not only snap off this branch in this rudimentary javelin shape, but also in a fit of rage to tie your rope to it and hurl it all in one smooth motion. What are you trying to do?
I wanted to tie the other end to the tree and then use it as like a line to secure myself. If I can get it and like hit the boat with it so I can, whatever you call it, jaguar crawl across. Or if it's in the water, just have something to hold on to.
Oh God.
20 meters. So, what's the Olympic record for javelin throwing?
Like 80.
Yeah, really
long
far. Like more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could throw a
Okay,
javelin
20
20
meters.
meters, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, big up.
RPGeeks
RPGeeks
Sports
Summer
Day
Games.
when?
Yes.
You tear this javelin-shaped piece of trunk off.
Nearly 100 meters. Just as.
Wow.
98.
I seem to
0.48
remember that
meters.
the record for the women's javelin is actually longer than for the men's javelin, or it was at one point at least.
Doesn't say that here.
Yeah, it might
The
be when I
men's one was
younger.
set in 1996, though, which is insane.
The women's one.
You tie
Men's.
your rope around the end of this javelin javelin branch. Tense yourself mid alluvial flat, and with a smooth, fluid, powerful motion, launch this branch through the air with the rope trailing out behind, whipping in the air, and it flies over the top of the ship on the other side of the river.
Spears a
and
frog.
Falls to the ground.
Oh no!
And the rope is now
It's another frog. That's fine.
trailing from the top
That'd actually
of
be good. I just put that.
the boat all the way to the other bank where you currently are.
So everyone's just like staring in complete amazement, like, what the heck?
Right. I know it's not much, but we got to get over somehow.
Ah, you first.
Okay. Yep. I think I can hear some. Right.
You definitely can't. This is for the people at home.
So you're sort of commando crawling along this rope.
Doing
Am I
it
right?
with it, yeah.
Yeah.
God.
The rope is not taut. So as soon as you start going, yeah, you're being held against the current, but you are just going deeper and deeper into the water.
Oh no.
So, but you can keep moving along it, keep your head above water, but you're in the water as you monkey climb along this rope.
Yeah. Okay. That's about as good as I think we can hope for.
You move across the water in a completely unstealthy way, splashing around, moving this way and that way as a rope, and make an athletics check.
Ooh, that's pretty good.
Come on, monkey boy.
Not
Not monkey as in the animal. I meant monks in monk. But
You monkey boy.
But actually, if you were a monkey, that would be quite
that would be
useful.
so much more helpful.
18.
Yeah.
Maybe, yeah.
18. You pulling your way through the water, and the water's very full of these particulates. It's very difficult to see what's in there. It's like a kind of brown soup around you, and with the current rushing past you in the center of the stream, you feel like something maybe brushes past you, but you can't tell. It could have been a little leaf, it could have been something else. You keep going, and you make it to the other side. You're stood there, sinking still into this mud next to the boat. You're still waist deep in water, and you're holding on to one side of the boat.
Okay. First instinct is to get up out of the water. Is there a way to climb up the side of the side of the boat?
Yeah, we'll use the same athletics check. You pull yourself up on board. Now you're standing on the deck, and you're standing on the other side. So if you saw Infinity go down into the cabin at the stern end, you're now sort of on the bow end, but it's not far away. It's about 20 feet.
Infinity? Can you hear me?
Roll a perception check.
This is going to be so farcical if I don't notice you for a while.
Oh, a frog! A frog! Smack!
Don't kill the frog!
That's a 6.
Actually, no, it'd be really good if you did.
Oh, yeah,
6.
maybe.
It is bright out here. You know, you're hearing a lot of noise. You hear frogs calling. You hear...
Rabbit, Uriel,
Frogs calling.
Uriel.
of birds. You know, there's a lot going on. But you
I
don't hear
don't
Infinity's
suppose
voice.
I recognise my friend at all. I've got frog intelligence, right? So probably just scary thing. I'll go hide.
You're not scared of them.
Okay.
But you don't really know who they are. But you do see them.
Oh, yeah, person. Interesting. Wee! Boing.
Boing. Having a great time.
I'm having a lovely day. Might go for a swim in a minute.
I mean, it's quite hot. You should probably.
Yeah.
grab some
Empress,
water.
do you want to come over?
Boing.
Not really.
Okay, right. If anything happens to me, where's the like rope speared into? Is it like past the?
It's gone all the way over the top of the boat. You really lugged it, and it's sort of lodged into the alluvial flat on the other side. And then as you've been working your way over, you've pulled it up against the side of the boat, so it's sort of wedged against the side now.
Can I take the speary bit up, untie the rope from it, and then tie the rope to the ship?
Yeah, absolutely, without issue.
If you can't find infinity, maybe you can just come pick me up in the boat.
Well, yeah, but if anything happens to me, you can get over if you tie the rope to the tree. You don't have to go through the water.
Okay. Okay, I'll stay here.
Right, you stay there. I'm gonna go looking for infinity.
God.
Don't worry. I'm
It's fine,
coming.
let's split the party. Let's split the
Boing,
party
boing,
more.
boing,
If
boing.
in doubt, just keep splitting the party.
I'm gonna go looking for infinity. I'm gonna go. I mean, probably would look below decks. That's the thing. You're
Having a lovely time jumping around
It's a
on the
well-known
deck.
fact that if someone is lost, you should send like one person out looking for them, and then
And
another
leave.
one person out
Yeah.
looking for that person.
Yeah,
just
that's how it
in a
works.
row, that's what.
When there's three of you, I feel like that is almost what you
There's
do,
only,
though.
there's only
If,
three of us.
if one
so what are we
person is
gonna
in a
do?
safe, what seems to be a safe place, you do
Yeah.
leave one
Yeah,
person in the safe
yeah,
place, and
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe you don't. Maybe you all
Yeah.
go. Maybe that makes much more sense.
You walk to the stern of the boat. There, the first thing that catches your eye is a little tiny frog
Ooh.
bouncing up and down in the middle of the deck.
Oh.
You look down into the cabin
Oh.
and you see darkness. You could just about make out the shapes of the furniture on the inside. You see a table, maybe just a hint of one or two pieces of paper on it. And then make an intelligence saving throw.
We're all gonna be frogs. Everyone's
We're all
be
gonna live out
frog.
our best lives as frogs.
I'm not, because there's no way I'm making it across that current and
Yeah,
that river
exactly.
alive. So
So Nevers
at
dies in the
least I
water.
won't
We
be a
all
frog.
me and
There's
Uriel
at
become
least
frogs.
there's that.
In saving throw, yeah?
Saving throw.
10.
Jeez.
As you're looking into the cabin, you're trying to work out if you can see infinity. And then you breathe something in. You don't know what it is. It feels maybe like it could be just a little piece of dust. Maybe it's a spore or something out here in all this nature. You wouldn't be able to work it out. But it makes you start coughing a little bit. You double over and then you lift back up and you look back down into the cabin and you see the door at the far end start to open. Normal speed. And then out from the door, you see, and because you're looking down into the cabin, all you can see is the bottom half of the door, right? Because the top half is blocked off by the entranceway that you're looking down in. What you see is a pair of hooves coming out. Two little hooves with furry legs on either side. And they're walking, two-legged, like a human. And as the hooves walk out of this door, you start to see more and more. You see they're completely naked. And not only that, but they're very well endowed. And
That was going to be my question.
I was
In
thinking
fact-
it, and then you just said it.
it's difficult to look away from. It's so in your face. And then as they come closer and closer, you see the little portly potbelly of an older gentleman. They have a bald head with just a little sort of white hair around the edge of it, almost like a kind of a friendly music teacher, but again with this huge pendulous private parts just dangling, and they're just walking towards you, and you see little tiny curly horns just protruding out of the top of his head. And they walk towards you and walk towards you, and they raise a little hand, and they say, "Hello! Hello there, Uriel, me boy! Won't you come greet me?" And they come closer and closer, and as they're coming closer, you start to feel a little strange. It's as though you can't look away from this strange phallic creature, and the motions and the jiggles are giving you a strange sense inside. You don't feel well.
Wait, whoa. I was just here looking for my friend. Sorry, is this, I'm sorry, it's really hard to not look at that,
Don't you worry about it, Uriel, my boy. Don't you worry about it. I tell you what we do. You come in here, we have a nice cup of tea, and we all talk about it, yes?
You just
and
stop moving your hips from side to side.
And it feels like he's starting to fill your field of vision. That it doesn't, in a way, it feels sort of unreal, but as he's coming closer and closer, it's just these swaying nads and penis. And you just can't, you can't get it out of your field of view. You try to look away and you can't do it.
Wait, I feel like this is very, this is a lot all at once. Hello, how do you know my name?
And now you start to feel afraid of it. This thing doesn't feel quite real. As it starts to come up the gangway, it's getting larger and larger, and you're just seeing this swaying thing in your face.
What? Hang on, wait, don't come any closer.
We're gonna cut back for a second.
Oh God.
Tenebris,
Yes.
you've been watching this, I assume.
Well, so what I can see is Uriel at the top of the steps.
You can see Uriel on the stern deck
Yeah, looking downwards.
and saying things, talking.
Oh, and talking. Oh no. Oh, he found the infinity. Great.
But you also see now Uriel on the back foot, taking a little step back and roll a perception check.
Oh no.
Something that Uriel does not need to do.
No. Let's see. It's too bright here. That was a 7.
But you don't see much more than that. You just hear this sort of indistinct speaking, and you see that Uriel has taken a couple of steps back, and that's it.
Can I shout across?
Mm-hmm.
Uriel, did you find them?
No, but I found this thing with a huge penis.
I found you.
Look, so I'm dealing with a lot over here. Hey, wait, stay back. You just stay back.
It's coming closer and closer.
Boing.
A sort of avuncular, and now the size of this figure has grown. Now it's taller than you almost, but just enough to keep you on a level with this swaying junk, and it's getting closer and closer to your face. It can only be a meter away now. Don't you worry about it, Uriel, me boy.
Don't, if you come any closer, I'm going to have to stay back. I don't want any trouble.
And it comes closer and closer.
I'm going to blast it.
Okay, roll an attack.
So, no, as in Uriel's arm is going to pop open, and one of the modifications is going to come out. And
Level 3. Level 3.
I'm going to blast it
Alec, weapon off.
with... So this is a ranged spell attack with a range of 30 feet. I'm proficient. It's radiant damage for D4.
We're going to be such a radiant damage party. Whoa.
So roll to hit, is that right?
Add my dex modifier to its attack and damage rolls. So...
Is it a spell attack?
Yes, spell attack.
Yeah,
Ranged spell attack. So what stat do I use?
It should say it'll either be...
It'll be your key, won't it? So
No, it won't. It won't. What monk are you?
This is the way of the... Oh, is it Sun?
Sun Soul?
Sun Soul, yeah.
Yeah, 1 sec. Give me 10 seconds.
Sorry.
And I'll tell you.
That's the one crucial piece of information I do not have.
Yeah. Is it just a... Yeah, you add your dex modifier and your proficiency. So whatever your dex modifier is, +2.
Right. So I get.
Do we have to be careful about what words we're saying about the thing? Because will we get banned from Twitch?
Yeah, someone has said in chat that we should not be saying
Should we be
P
polite?
word, apparently.
P-word,
Apparently
that's
the scientific
I have
anatomical.
heard
apparently
And
much worse
I
on Twitch.
Disagree with it in principle.
15.
That feels wrong. Uriel, you working off instinct, seeing this very strange and difficult-looking P word coming towards you, you put out one fist and a blast of energy. And it's strange. You feel like you have shot bang on target. It's right in front of you. It's huge. And yet somehow you seem to have missed it.
Oh my god.
And they're still
Hallucination.
coming. Roll another...
Oh god.
Roll an investigation check.
Turn into a frog.
Boing, boing.
7.
Rabbit.
You cannot explain it, but you know that this thing it's happening to you, and it's happening. This is real.
It's happening.
And we'll cut back to Tenebris. So at that point, you do see...
Oh. He's shooting at something.
Yeah.
But you can't see what it is. You don't see anything.
Okay, wait. How far did we say this river was in
20 meters.
feet?
So 65 feet.
65 feet.
But the boat's a bit closer.
Barely.
And the rope is attached to the boat.
Oh, the rope's attached to the little boat. No.
No, it's the big
Right,
boat.
no,
It's
the
attached to the
big
railing.
boat.
But
Okay,
it's
sorry.
also
I was just
attached
suddenly
to
wondering
the
if I could pull
trees
myself
on
a
the other
little
side.
Yeah, okay, fine.
Yeah, it's like a
And I've
bridge.
tied it to a tree. Can I say I've tied it to a tree?
It was tied to a
I
tree
did that
because
first,
otherwise
Yeah,
Uriel
okay.
wouldn't have
Otherwise,
Yeah.
yes, I wasn't holding it.
God, we've got to get a backup. Belt.
I think we may lose the belt today. I'm gonna put it out there. This might be the end of belt.
We're going to go to dressing gown territory from here.
Yeah.
Do anything to things I can't see.
I get to keep my new bag. if it's
But
what
I can't.
think
I
it
can't
is.
see what he's blasting. He's just blasting imaginary things, right? You were the one who said you were blasting it. Right?
Yes.
It's nothing there.
In retrospect.
Yeah, but
You
he still
can't see
fired
anything
into
there.
the boat
He's still fired into the boat.
because he was at the top of the stairs, right? So he's fired looking like it's going inside somewhere.
I'm not. Yeah, no. Uriel!
The angle of the shot was
Yeah.
up because at
Oh,
this
okay.
point this thing
Oh, 'cause he
Uriel
doesn't know what
is
he's looking at.
really big now. It's like it's a large creature
Oh.
if you want to use those terms. So it's fired up into the sky basically.
Uriel, get in the little boat! Uriel!
I didn't do anything. I thought this thing was ready.
Oh no, his new toy. By the way, I'm a frog and something's just exploded, so I'm gonna go hide.
Aww.
I feel like Uriel's also has a pretty similar instinct at this point. Just like back away
Hide
into
in
like
the same place.
the butting up against the railing.
Roll a stealth check, Infinity.
I've just looked at the frogs. Do I use their stats or my stats?
You use their stats.
Because they get +3 to stealth.
Oh,
Little froggies.
Little froggies.
That's a 22. Probably not the time to roll well, to be honest. I'd rather Uriel found me, but say la vie.
You find a little tiny moist nook underneath one of the bollards, the cleats that's in the ship, and you just look out and you watch this happen. Just boom, boom, boom.
Don't worry. In 1 hour, I won't be a frog anymore. Maybe.
Uriel, this is still happening. This figure is sort of coming towards you, almost like now it's sort of taken on the proportions of one of those like car showroom sort of inflatable
Wacky
arm,
waving
like-
inflatable arm man.
No.
Exactly. Uriel, me boy, Uriel, won't you take a cup of tea with me?
It's just this enormous schlong flopping.
Exactly.
I like
And
how
it's
we've got
coming
to
closer and closer.
I mean, I feel like Uriel's backing away. He's fired. Nothing's happened. He's gonna like his ass is gonna butt up against the railing and just like fall, like kind of half fall, half tumble over the back of it.
Into the water or off.
Yeah. What's the
land.
alternative? Getting
No, run away. No, run away. It's coming for you.
You fall backwards, splat Angel into the mud, and lift yourself out. Now you are sat up in the mud, and the mud's coming up to about your sort of kidney level. Just looking up, and you can see this. Whoa, Uriel, just sort of standing on the boat, just waving its arms at you.
Tenebris, can your friends do anything about this?
Can I see anything on the deck of this boat?
No, you see nothing.
Boing. Oh no, I'm hiding.
What?
You're not saying it's enormous.
I'm gonna. Okay. Is any of it? Well, what? I'm gonna. Oh, it doesn't matter. I'm gonna try and cast Fairy Fire. It's only got a 60-foot range, and this boat is like 65 foot away. It's like a little 20-foot cube, and if there was anything invisible there, I'm like, maybe there's something invisible. It will outline it.
It would outline me
in
maybe.
light. Oh, it would. Yeah, it would outline every object as well. So
Oh,
you're
right.
a frog.
Everything,
You're just a frog,
just a frog, yeah.
So I am going to do something, and me and my friends are like trying to reach out desperately, and like they're there, and they're like glowing and doing their thing.
You can definitely reach the stern of this boat from where you are. The river itself is 20 meters wide. This boat's a little bit further out into the channel. Yeah, so like a little firework display. And you see Uriel outlined. You see...
Actually, if there's a figure who I can't see, but they happen to be within the 20 foot, even if I can't see them, they can make a dex save to try and avoid being outlined.
Let me just... Oh, okay, yeah, I'll trust you on that.
So
All
I
right,
actually
great.
again.
What's your DC?
14.
Right.
Yeah, if they're within the 20-foot cube, even if I can't see them.
You see a little tiny mote of light hovering over the deck.
That's not good.
It's really bad.
What?
And it's where it is it's just at the at the back at the stern, just on the edge with a clear eye line towards Uriel.
Well, I've got more that I want to do, but
So at this, okay, right.
now I see a moat.
Does everyone see a moat?
It's
Is it like something I might want to eat? With my tongue.
Let's. Yeah,
Everything's
okay. This is a
sparkly
thing.
now. Wow.
It's a glowworm.
It's there to give you
Delicious.
advantage on attack, right? It gives you advantage on attack rolls.
Indeed.
That's correct.
Verify does, yes.
Yep.
If it's outlined, yeah.
Yeah. So let's say that makes sense that for the frog, what you're getting is the idea that this is a thing which should be attacked. So it must be something to eat. So I should probably try and eat it.
Sure. I don't have an attack as a frog, but I would like to try and.
The frog's gonna read. This is everything about this is perfect.
You have no effective attack
No.
against anything normal sized.
It's
But
literally
this
under
is
actions.
tiny.
There is nothing there.
But this is tiny. This is tiny. So what
Okay.
we'll say for this is that you can have a simple, like we'll call it a bite attack that does 1d2.
Tongue attack.
Sure.
Sticky tongue.
Yep, that makes sense. All right. Roll.
just
An
a
attack
just a
and
D20.
No, use your dex modifier.
Oh, that's a +1. Ooh. That's a whole. Any proficiency for the frog? I assume not. 10.
You're aiming at this. Oh, you get advantage.
Oh, I do.
Oh, yeah.
I do. Oh no, that's worse. 10.
You're aiming your tongue at this thing, this little mote of like dancing light, but you're not getting anywhere. You're not getting it. How long does Fairy Fire last?
Such questions. It's kind of concentration spell up to a minute. And now that I've seen that there's something there, I'm going to assume that that's what is freaking out Uriel, and try and get my pals to do something about it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Friends.
At this point, we'll say that.
I want to
this
keep
is-
playing.
Well, we've got a little bit more time.
I'm enjoying this.
But just to give you an idea, about almost a minute has passed, Uriel, since you first saw this strange creature. And let's just say you've got one more round, essentially, of actions before a minute is over.
I've only just can't, like, from I'm fine if you want to rule it that way, but from my point of view, I've done one thing, which is cast fairy fire.
No, Uriel,
This is-
not
You
this
can't
Uriel.
see.
not you, Uriel.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
After he
But-
first saw it.
Because we chatted. Well, I talked to it very briefly, and then it was.
Oh, can you not see the moat though?
You can see the moat.
But I think, well, it would be visible, but I feel like Uriel's attention is very much still on
I was
this
gonna
huge,
say,
huge
is it-
thing.
Is it as well as?
So let's go back to you one more time, Uriel. You can still see this creature. Uriel, my boy, will you not? Please, just for the laugh, for the crack. And what are you going to do?
I mean, I feel like it's going to be desperately looking over at Tenebris, trying to kind of paddle backwards into the channel, trying to get away.
You push yourself backwards, paddling through the thing. This creature seems to be inflating almost. It's becoming bigger and bigger now. It's huge. It's towering over the trees, waving its arms. It's purple, like it's inflating as though its features are, and then it goes, boom, and it disappears in a cloud of butterflies, and it's gone.
What?
What the? Tenebris, did you see that?
Yes, it's there. Look.
Oh no.
Is that it?
What, you mean a cloud of butterflies? Yeah.
No.
Infinity, you're still a frog,
Yeah,
and
I'm
you're
great.
still trying to eat this.
Yeah, I'll have another
Okay.
go. One more try.
As this is going on, yeah, have another go.
That
And
lasted
it's
a
still
minute.
advantage.
Yep.
Yeah. 20, non-natural. Little
Oh.
froggy.
You and you feel your tongue boop, hit something
Yes. Food.
Oh.
solid.
Oh.
Back into your mouth. Roll damage.
What am I
1d2,
rolling?
So 1d2. So one.
Oh, roll a
halved.
d4. Yeah, okay. That's a whole one.
Flip a coin.
And you feel tiny little bits of.
What?
You don't know what this stuff is. It feels like very, very, very hard wood, and it's not very tasty at all. And it's crunching up, and then it doesn't. It's not tasty in any way. And you blah, 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 and you spit it out. And on the floor, you see in front of you what for everybody else would be a little pile of metal, little pile of little electronics, a little teeny pile of some sort of metal casing. But you, as a frog, Infinity,
Ugh.
you don't know what that is.
Oh, it's
And at
disgusting.
that point, everybody needs to roll initiative, and we will leave it there.
Oh my god!
Ali, no, I want to play.
I haven't even finished writing the notes! There's so much has happened!
Are we rolling initiative before we go?
Yeah, may as well.
Yeah. Let's just do it.
Okay, this dice has been good. Why? I'm gonna go. You're just a different one. I'm gonna use a different one.
19 to be real.
15. Oh wait, am I using frog stats? Oh, it's the same. Frog has the same initiative as.
Hang on, everyone. Okie doke. Who has 20 and above?
Synthetic 20 for the very, very far away Tenebris. Safe across the other side of the river with my 60-foot spell range.
Brave Sir Robin.
Quite good. Yeah, I think I like this.
This is literally perfect for you.
Yeah,
Just stay out of the way.
I think this is
Yeah.
working well.
15 to 20.
That would be me. 19 for Uriel.
15 for Infinity. Frogfinity.
Frog
Infinifrog.
Infinifrog. Hypnotoad.
Hypno.
The hypno.
Inity.
Okay, great.
I would say that we're going to pick that up next week, but of course
We're not.
We are
Oh,
not.
no.
That's why I wanted to keep playing.
Everything. I regret all of our plans. God damn
I
it.
mean, what do? We could.
No,
try
we
and-
need to keep to our plan.
We've said we have our plans. They're fun plans. They're fun. They're
excited.
great plans.
I was just
We
thinking
like our
about
plans.
tonight, but no, let's not. Let's just.
Oh.
No, let's keep
Because-
it tight.
Oh, I still want to play. It's fine. No, it's okay. No, we'll wait. It'll be better for the wait.
All the sweeter for it. Well, shall we go on a quick break then, and we'll let people
Yes.
gather their thoughts and try and get the mental image of the past 10 minutes out of their heads.
And just quickly, the reason we won't be playing the game next week is because we're going to be playing a different game, a little special stream.
Which
But
we should
I-
explain after the break.
Which we will explain after the break, but I just wanted to say it now
Yes.
because we mentioned it and it was really weird and cryptic. So,
Sorry.
Mystery. Ooh.
Yeah.
No.
All right.
Okay, we'll be back in a couple of minutes, guys. Don't go anywhere.
Bye. See you in a bit.
And we're back. Hello.
Dongs.
Dong.
Hooray.
Dong, dong, dong. Dong, 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 dong.
Dong, 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 dong.
That was
bells
quite something,
coming
Ali.
soon with
Straight from the
dongs.
imagination of Ali Jennings.
That is literally that's just a direct line into my brain at all times.
The next time I get on a ferry, I'm going to have this hit me like a bolt of inspiration. And it's going to be inescapable. Welcome back to the stream
Everyone's
slash video
saying
slash
dong in
podcast.
chat.
Yes, Twitch chat is loving the dong. Triple caution dong. Dong! Dong!
So I think before we move on, we should
Back
talk
in,
about
yeah.
next week.
We
Yes.
should.
We should reveal the first of our monthly-ish specials for 2022.
Really
Will
know.
be in fact, Simon. In fact, why don't you explain it? Because I've only heard of it today.
So we are the first, well, what is probably going to be the first Wednesday of every month. It's going to vary a little bit depending on if people are
Definitely
available.
happening on the
today,
second
obviously,
Wednesday.
so I was going to not mention that, but
Yeah.
until it actually
Because
happened.
That was the
Yeah.
plan.
I have
But
on some other days.
we're going to be doing some form of special, and sometimes in the future that's going to be a one-shot. Sometimes it's going to be something that's not D&D related, but it's going to feature us. So
And
next week,
science.
Science.
we are going to be playing the science-based, and I've got to say, like, it is actually really quite good from a science perspective. Board game called Evolution,
Yeah.
which is available on Steam, and we're going to be doing the multiplayer version of that. And considering that everyone apart from me is a biologist, or,
Nah,
or
I'm not really a
bio-based,
biologist. I don't call myself a biologist.
more than me.
Oh yeah, way more than you.
I'm at a disadvantage, basically. But we're going to be playing a card sort of board game that has been turned into a very good adaptation on Steam next week. And so it's still going to be us. It's still going to be science. It's just not going to be the D&D. It's going to be
excited.
the D and A.
Now, seeing as we are the RP geeks, i.e., role-playing games,
I'm
do
so
we have
proud
to
of
get
that.
into character?
Yes,
in-
I'm going to
during
be
evolution?
playing every animal that I play. I gathered that you play different species, and there are
yeah.
little pictures. So I'm going to imagine the voice that each of the species has, and then like just act out the
Oh.
eating and the.
I thought you meant that
for
our
sure.
characters are playing the game like in a downtime
Oh.
on a shuttle.
No, we can't have Infinity
So-
playing this.
That's
She'd be
too
It's
she'd
like,
kill you.
I'm going to
She'd
keep my
destroy you.
creatures herds. I think if we stick together, that's a good idea.
Infinity would be the best. She'd be like, well, obviously this is optimal. So
I mean, there was the time in our home campaign that we were waiting for one of the players, and I can't remember who it was, to turn up to a session. So we tried playing Mario Kart in character as our home game characters.
oh yeah, that was funny.
And it was great trying to be like a goblin, like just shit talking the other players. Like, this is why, Gloria, you're never going to get anywhere because you're not aggressive enough.
Don't give away the home game on
You,
stream.
please.
Look at you.
But yeah, so that's going to be next week, and we're not quite sure what the
Excited.
plan's going to be for future sessions. We're open to ideas if you do have any, and we've got plenty of our own. But if you have some
It has
ideas,
to be a slight
Don't.
science angle. At
yeah,
the
there has to
very
be
least.
some amount
Definitely
of that.
phasmophobia. is the
It
entire
can be
idea.
like it can be. We can't play Phasmophobia.
You can do that
because
when I'm not here,
Not all
here
that.
one week.
Yeah.
You're always
Not
here,
worth it,
Charmy.
I'll be less available. I can make myself less available. Okay.
We want you to play.
But if you have an idea, pop it in the Discord. If you're not aware, then we have the Discord associated
Okay.
with all the stuff that I do online, including the RPGeeks.
86 Krill has said, if Infinity plays as an animal, does she gain that as a wild shape?
Well, that's why Infinity
That's
cannot. That's
unfair.
exactly why an Infinity can't play the game.
Because you just become a
Because
loner.
Infinity would would
Yeah.
really.
Because some of the
Basically become a
combinations are
dinosaur.
also wild.
OP.
Yeah.
Like, and I do like that how the Steam game does actually give you achievements if you have a unique combination of cards that you've
Oh.
not seen
Yeah.
before.
I think
Yeah.
I might go in completely like I'll just read the rules, but I won't play the
Oh,
game at all.
please
There was a little-
do, Ali.
Yeah.
There was a little tutorial that I've
That will help
done.
my competitive side.
You have to have species and traits and numbers and eatings.
Emily Bates
I've got
definitely
it.
got way too into this when she first found the game and was like, "I'm going to beat you all. I'm going to
Destroy-
practice so much."
I'm going to destroy all of you.
What is
I haven't played it
straight
for
slavery?
months. Strixhaven is one of the new D&D books, and it's all like I haven't looked into it yet, but it's all like academy based, kind of like it's all knowledge.
It's the school one.
Yeah. No, maybe I don't know. I do have Candlekeep Mysteries, which I've not run yet, so we could do a one shot because they're all like chapters. So I could, and that's kind of like, it's all knowledge. We could I can try and find a sciencey one. We could do that one time if you wanted. Yeah. And run an actual D&D game, not a sci-fi D&D game.
Yeah.
There's also the possibility of, we mentioned this briefly before, if I finally get to indulge my 40k side in the role-playing angle, and we do, there is a system that is meant to be very rapid, because the whole idea is you're incredibly expendable. You're like rolling characters on the go.
I've never played Warhammer, and I really do want to play it.
Imperial Guardsmen.
Yeah. You're just trying to get from one pilot side of a battlefield to the other, and it's all the shit that happens in between.
Will you make us all minis?
That's brilliant. I would so play that. I would love to play that.
We should definitely do that.
This is all for the future. That's all the possible.
Send us your ideas.
Yeah, put them on the Discord. We love chatting on the Discord and seeing, especially when lovely people like Cass do fan art for us.
Oh my god!
Yeah,
official art mostly.
It's fantastic.
Oh, she did one fan art.
Blurring the line, I feel.
And also, Cass, sorry, there's something in the near future that is also related to this, which we can't talk about just yet. Anyway, this week. It's the noble responsibility of helming the DnDebrief has fallen to me to talk about some of the science that we've run into. Before I get into my topic, what were some of the things today that other people would like to maybe talk about in the future?
Clear's throat. Polymorph. The shrink sneeze. Ali. That one, please. And hallucinations, I guess, would be the other obvious one.
Clear, right? Like, the next one would be, isn't that you, Bates? Aren't you?
No, I think it's you.
No, it's you, Bates.
No, so
is it me?
This is a real hospital pass you're giving yourself for the polymorph, but you haven't.
Well, no, I'm not. No, I'm not doing something that you've got an idea for.
What if I have no idea? You're totally able to.
That's not my. I really thought it was Ali. Why did I?
It's on the schedule.
Ali, when did you do the last one?
I did it last time.
You last week.
Specifically wasn't polymorph.
Yeah, it was.
No, Shamini did Don't Look Up last week.
No, after that, Ali did. I watched it today. The teeth.
Oh, you did teeth. Of course you did. Okay, it is me. Okay, it is me. I accept. But I'm not doing polymorph.
Give it a shot.
I'm not doing polymorph. I literally don't know how to do it, so I'm not doing it.
Yeah, it's hard. Right?
I'm not. No, you have to do that one. I'm not, because I'm gonna have so many horrible spells that I'm gonna have to do at some point, and I'm not. No. I can do guidance.
Just wait till you do polymorph, and then
I'm never taking it. I don't know if I can learn polymorph. I am picking spells that I'm like, I can't. I'm not picking that one because I have not got a clue. I'll find it. Okay. And I can do hallucinations.
Yeah, I mean, there's I was going to say,
hallucinations would be good.
From a more like kind of the harder sci-fi aspect of it, I think the whole nature of like shifting landscapes and the mangrove maps and stuff like that is. We
don't know if they're really shifting though. It just said shifting mangroves.
True, but if there's that is a thing. Like the morphography or whatever the correct word is of like fluvial deltas changes so much, and like kind of fluvial stuff like that is really interesting.
Yeah. James Argoni in chat is a caterpillar, not polymorphic. That's so bang on. Like, that's totally. I did a whole one shot about that. Not getting
smaller though, is it?
Where's the mask gone?
No,
actually, it is getting smaller.
Oh, it does get smaller.
It's quite a lot smaller actually. For caterpillars are like fat.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay.
But yeah, but Infinity isn't losing. I assume. Well, we don't know if it might not be polymorph.
How heavy is the frog?
That's the thing. That's why I said if she flings herself in the river, she just sinks.
I've been jumping up and down quite happily.
We're jumping. I've got a specific suggestion of just like frogs' tongues that I would like to know all about how frogs' tongues work.
Oh, I'll do frogs. I'm going to do frogs. I'm doing frogs.
It's been a very frog heavy session. I feel like you could just do
frog. I'm
doing okay.
Okay, well that's all for the future.
Apparently, caterpillars don't turn straight into liquids. They leave little tiny discs. I can't remember what they're called now, but they do have little tiny discs that remain solid throughout that, like liquid. But they're mostly liquid. Yeah.
Oh right! Wow. So it's like kind of reference points that everything else kind of attaches to, I guess.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to find an excuse in game to have some more metamorphosis so that we have an excuse to have a D&D brief about the metamorphosis.
Excellent. AC6 Krull, sorry if I'm saying that wrong, in Twitch chat has said Druid can't learn true polymorph as it's specific to Bard, Warlock, Wizard. Haha. So, haha.
Okay.
I'm
Right,
never doing
okay.
it.
Yes, imaginal discs.
Wild shape is obviously a thing, but shh.
So if people are listening to
Transformers.
this on the podcast or watching it on YouTube, we should point out that if you can make the live streams, it is really fun. Seeing the Twitch chat in real time and having chats like this. So
Twitch chat got game.
They do.
so did that
They love the
hallucination.
dongs.
Right, so this week, however, I wanted to talk about something that we had a direct experience with 2 sessions ago, which is spacecraft that are also aircraft, or aircraft that are also spacecraft. Because we were on a shuttle that we were led to believe could operate in atmosphere, but also in void. The Tooth Fairy was specifically something that left void and entered the atmosphere and could do both. And basically, kind of where we are at the moment, how we could do it, and why it may be a terrible idea.
Question number 1.
Brilliant.
Was the space shuttle not a thing that could fly and also go into the atmosphere?
Right, so
No?
the space shuttle was kind of the opposite, because the technical term for this kind of thing is an SSTO, or a single stage 2 orbit craft.
Okay.
So it's something that that takes off and reaches space without jettisoning anything. So the space shuttle did the opposite. It went from space to atmosphere without jettisoning anything.
Because they had the rockets take off
It
and
had
then
the
it got you,
SRBs,
of
the
course.
solid rocket boosters.
Yes, of course.
And the other thing about the space shuttle is that when it was going through the atmosphere at the end of a flight, it was a glider. It didn't actually have powered propulsion.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Is that because its wings were too small to actually give it the required amount of lift and land it without going at like silly
I'm
miles an
actually
hour?
not sure. Well, because it did have engines. The space shuttle engines fire during the launch, and if I remember rightly, all of the space shuttle's engines put together was still less powerful than one of the Saturn V rockets, boosters.
Oh, okay.
So they weren't very powerful. They were just there, I think, to add that bit of extra. I assume there's also a safety aspect to it. You don't want to go back through the atmosphere with a bunch of fuel, probably a motivating
Sounds
factor
like
of
a
it.
good
Oh.
idea.
Oh yeah, that does sound clever.
But anyway, so yeah, the space shuttle is
These
kind.
scientists are quite smart sometimes.
Tell you what, I've been doing some research today for a video that's going to come out next week, and reading through some NASA reports. And I'm somebody who has done quite a bit of fluid mechanics, and I'm just like, oh gosh, this is. Oh dear Lord,
You're
this
brainy.
is dry. But yes. Anyway, so yeah, space shuttle kind of. So basically, if you're trying to design something that can fly, and by that I mean powered flight in space, then atmosphere, or atmosphere then space, you're basically dealing with the fact that you've got 2 sort of sets of problems you're trying to solve. If you're flying in the atmosphere, you've got to have enough velocity going forwards. You've also got to generate lift, and you've got to worry about aerodynamics. So. You have to have a shape that is conducive to. It can't just be like a Borg cube. It has to be, it has to have wings.
Unless
to generate
you've got
lift.
enough power.
Oh yeah, if you just want to brute force your way through the atmosphere, just chonk,
That's
here
a
I go.
Which dice would be the best spaceship? Probably a D8, right?
Oh no, there's a
D4?
YouTube video.
You can't have it.
Well, I mean, it would
We
be,
can have it.
Yeah, probably a D8.
I mean,
One that's
spaceship-
closest to a circle.
Spaceship, it would depend on
Yeah.
what the purpose
No,
of the
it's probably-
spaceship was and where you wanted to put the engines in terms of stability. Because the benefit of something like a D6 is that you'd be able to put all the engines on, say, one side, and so it would be very stable. Whereas something like a D4, no, D4, anything that has a large flat surface, I guess, you could probably get away with in terms of maximizing where you put the engines.
D4, you could have all the engines down the back and
Yeah.
get through the atmosphere with your pointy bit.
Your point.
Yeah, that's probably the best candidate, to be fair. But then you
Yeah,
don't.
but-
But then it's a question of generating lift, and that's probably the kind of the key difference is that if you're
I
throwing-
imagine a D10 rotating as it flies. I don't know why.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah,
would
that
look cool.
kind of works.
Wait, so what are you going to do with your lift? You can't just blast rockets.
This is about lift that you're getting from wings rather than lift from
You
just...
mean
Yeah, because
along,
whilst you could
right?
just use a rocket through the atmosphere, it's just incredibly inefficient to do so because
Right.
you can prevent yourself from needing to expend the energy by just effectively stopping yourself from falling in the first place. So you've got that as your set of issues in atmosphere. Whereas in spacecraft, it's all about your velocity, but you've also got to worry about being pressurized, whereas if you're in higher atmosphere, you do have to worry about that, but lower down, light aircraft don't have to worry about being pressurized, for example. And crucially, if you're trying to transition from space to atmosphere, you need to worry about thermal management. So you need to be able to take certain parts of the spacecraft are going to get very hot, and you have to have some kind of tolerance for that, and not let that temperature affect the inside of the spaceship or the structural integrity. So,
but presumably that's only if you're coming down incredibly quickly, right? Like falling. Whereas if you were floating down, thermal, it wouldn't be an issue.
Well, yeah, if you were to just fall through the atmosphere from a totally static, relative to the atmosphere starting point, you would still get. I mean, the velocity you would reach would be the order of probably a few hundreds of meters per second, and at that speed, you're still going to get a shockwave that you're generating through the atmosphere. So you'd still heat up and ablate parts of like the front part of your craft. But the big difference is that normally, of course, you're not starting from a stationary start. You're falling at kilometers per second. Effectively, orbital speeds are incredible. So like those are kind of like the big challenges. And there have been a couple of ways that people have tried to do this. One that I've never heard of before, and it's bonkers, is what's called the Rotary Rocket, which was an attempt to make a helicopter spaceship hybrid.
Yes. Not like little Ingenuity on Mars.
Well, Ingenuity was designed to just purely be with an atmosphere, to be fair.
Oh, true. Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah.
So what happens when you run out of atmosphere for the rotors to work?
So I believe that basically the rotor tips have like rocket engines on, and then they are useful to you up until you get out of atmosphere, and then when you're landing again, they act to brake you. Like
that makes sense.
They slow you down by kind of doing the opposite.
And when you're out of the atmosphere, what's lifting you then?
Then you have that combined with the rocket stuff. So that's why it's the hybrid compared. It's helicopter and rocket. But apparently it was terrible, and they built a prototype, and the pilots nicknamed the cockpit the Bat Cave because you could see very, very little out of the cockpit.
Scary.
But
they got to the point where they had pilots in it. Yeah.
Yeah, they did a test. This was one of these things that had a huge amount of money thrown at it. And who was it? There was a particular investor that was quite surprising. It was Tom Clancy, the author.
Amazing.
Amazing.
Yeah, basically, it's one of these sort of concepts that generates loads of venture capital, and then they build facilities and they do a test, and then they realize it's kind of an awful idea. Because somebody did this analysis where it's basically like it kind of makes sense if you're like landing with the helicopter aspect of it, because it sort of reduces the amount of fuel you have to carry and it makes it easier, but it like confers no advantage at all when you're actually launching. So it just from the get-go was just quite a flawed idea. Whereas the two approaches that I find like really interesting. Before I talk about them, there's a quote here from Elon Musk.
Oh God, I knew his name was going to come up.
Because
go on then.
I love this. So Musk pointed out that Starship which is their big kind of shit they're building at the moment.
I didn't want to bring it up, but I was going to ask because obviously that's planning to go through space and then land on Mars, right?
Yeah. Has the capability to reach orbit as a single stage to orbit, so not using boosters and things that fall back to Earth. However, quote, he concedes that if this was done, there would be no appreciable mass left for a heat shield, landing legs, or fuel, much less any usable payload.
This is the same man who said he wants to die on Mars, but not on entry, right? So,
I love that. It's like, well, technically we could do it.
Yeah, you might die on impact. But not the initial entry.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, that Starship it could be an SST, but I think that they're basically planning on having bits of it that return to Earth rather than the whole thing leaving. So there are kind of like two other kind of big categories that ideas seem to fall into, because a lot of people have tried to do this, and there have been prototypes that have been made. NASA's done quite a few, like experimental craft, and there are a couple of things that are in active development, which is
wait. So I'm just so this whole thing, right? there's no way you can fly your way with wings out of the atmosphere, because you run out of atmosphere and then you just fall back down to where the atmosphere is again, and then you end up doing that. So at some stage you have to have rockets to push you the final way on your bottom bit, right? Or can you have them at your sort of back and just be like, I blast myself at an angle out of the atmosphere?
Yeah, so there are other things that are technically single stage to orbit. So things like, oh gosh, what's the name of the bloody technology?
I'm just thinking, like, so you know how B-52s used to refuel mid-air?
Yeah.
No.
It's awesome. Yeah, because so the B-52 used to carry the bombs, the hydrogen bombs around Russia, right? But they had to be in the air all the time outside the edge of Russia and never leave, just in case they were called upon to drop the bombs. So they developed a refueling line where basically they'd just get another larger plane with loads of fuel in it, right? And they just put a line between the two planes mid-air. It's incredible.
Wow, still do that for fighter jets. Like, really? I saw a story today where some unidentified craft was approaching Scotland, so they sent a bunch of fighter jets, and I'm pretty sure some kind of like refueling thing,
which is awesome.
Jets
cool.
can stay up.
Bad for the environment, though, isn't it? To keep it
So
in the air the
it's
whole
amazing
time.
the ingenuity that humans will go to kill each other. Like,
If
inspiring.
you could refuel mid-air, then could you not have a craft which could take off out of the atmosphere like a plane? So you just give it enough fuel to blast its way out, and then when it came back, it would sort of dip back in, glide a bit, get refueled while it was still in the air, and then be able to sort of go in and out like that.
That's quite cool.
So you can have craft that are a refuel, like maybe get up into an orbit and then you refuel them, go on. Like, that is definitely an approach. I'll come back to that idea.
But they're not in orbit. Like, they're flying in the atmosphere when they get refueled.
So the benefit
Would you
of
be
that
able
is...
to control the glide enough when you get in?
Yeah, but you'd have
Well,
to...
I'm just thinking, because the amount of fuel that you would actually need if you're like at the highest level of flight possible is much, much less than if you're blasting off from ground level, right? So you just give them a quick squirt, which would lift them up into space.
Little water gun of fuel, like, there you go.
And then when they drop back down, they've got a little bit of glide time where you can get to them and then refuel them.
But what's the purpose of going up into... I can't understand why you come...
Just to answer this question, I don't know. What is the purpose of going up into space?
Yeah, why do you need something to do this? That's the question. Why?
Is it so you can go to another planet with an atmosphere? Is it so you can go through space to another planet and then land?
Yeah.
Okay, so I was kind of going to save this for the end, but I think this is actually a really good question to ask, because basically why should you bother to do this when a multi-stage rocket will always have a better payload to weight ratio than an SSTO? So the whole reason that we're doing this seems to be kind of simplicity, in the sense of you take off on one planet, you can land on another, job's done, which there is an element to it. But the tolerances that you have to have, because you're basically designing two craft, really. You're designing a craft for an atmosphere and a craft for in space, and on the same frame, the tolerances and the amount of leeway you have is so reduced by doing that and making something that's generalist that it's less reliable. So there is the argument about reusability, which Cass has just put in chat, but something like, for example, Starship has one component that leaves the planet, goes, and then comes back, but then it's still assisted by a second stage.
Right.
But only at the beginning, right?
Yeah. So in terms of actually getting something that will fly with some assistance up to space, but it's still going to be the same craft that leaves Earth and then comes back. There isn't really a reason to do the whole thing all in one go.
Well, won't Starship have to refuel at Mars? Isn't that the plan?
That's the
they have to
plan,
send
yeah.
another rocket with the stuff for it to then take off again.
But is
this a really silly question? But how did they get back from the moon?
Well, that's actually another
Shuttle.
really interesting point, which is that the Earth is uniquely bad at trying to make something for SSTO, because we've got such high gravity compared to a lot of other atmosphere.
So you can just jump off the moon and fall back to Earth if you push off enough.
Yeah,
right?
Anybody who's played
it's not
Kerbal Space Program will attest to this, that you just don't need much delta V to leave the moon and then change your orbit so that you return back to Earth.
Great, because I don't have that much delta V, so that's a relief.
I barely keep any delta V on me. When I go out, I only have a little bit in my pocket.
How is this a
People always
meme
panic
again?
buying it.
You just said Delta V so casually.
Did.
And
really
we
did.
were all
Don't
like,
even know
oh
what it
yeah,
is. It's cool.
Delta V.
I'm a physicist.
Anybody that plays Kerbal Space Program will know what I mean.
That
Well,
in
we
itself
don't
could be a meme. When you can you even fly planes that built the same way that planes that fly on Earth? Can you fly those in the Martian atmosphere?
Yeah, you could. I mean, also Ingenuity is basically like a drone,
Yeah.
similar to the you'd fly on Earth. It's just that you're obviously dealing with the fact that
It's a tenth of the atmosphere, something like that.
less than a tenth. I think it's like
tenth
an 80th
on
or
Mars?
100th.
No, it's
No.
not. No, you're being exaggerating. I'll Google it.
It's really,
Oh,
really.
I'm sure it's a
tenuous.
tenth. I'm sure it's a tenth.
Well, I know.
I'm sure we had this.
It's tenuous enough that one of the limiting factors on how much lift they could get out of Ingenuity was the blades would rotate up until the point where their tips were almost breaking the speed of sound on Mars.
Less than 1% of the atmosphere. Of
I was
Earth
going to
on
say,
Mars.
I was way less dense.
Wait.
I'm brown.
Oh, yeah. Wait, yeah.
I think
Wait,
I'm talking
sorry.
about. I was talking about gravity. I think.
I was going to say, you said gravity.
Ah.
You didn't say.
Oh, did I?
Someone said gravity. Someone
No, I
said
think I was talking about
gravity of Mars.
atmosphere.
so
Maybe I used the
confused.
gravity number. Anyway, the atmosphere is 1% of the atmosphere on Earth, and that's
Oh,
why
okay.
it's been so quick.
So
Right.
you know, the same principles apply. It's just it's aeronautics. It just happens to be Martian aeronautics. If you were to do something on Titan that has a really quite a dense atmosphere, then it's much easier. And I think it's the Dragonfly mission that they're proposing.
It is.
That's such a nice name. Is it going to look like a dragonfly?
It's like a little helicopter.
Yeah, but it's designed to go over like really long distances, and we can just map another planet using a UAV, basically.
That's amazing. Where does it get its energy?
It's solar.
Is it or is it nuclear? I can't remember.
I'll have a look.
Yes, please.
I
send
know
a
someone
nuclear
working
bot
on that
to-
mission.
Do
So,
you?
Hello.
Hey, if we were getting guests, I
What?
reckon I could probably talk to her about potentially.
That's
She's really cool.
pretty
I won't say any
impressive.
more in case, like, you know, it doesn't happen. But she's very cool.
But
I'll tell
anyway,
you guys about
like,
it later.
so yeah, you can design a craft that will fly just on Mars using the same principles as just on Earth. The point that I wanted to make was that trying to be the jack of all trades means you're the master of none in a way that's like less reliable. And so it's kind of an example of us trying to live up to science fiction.
If I
Just because we want
trying to
to.
recreate what we've imagined, which is translation of our Earth vehicles into space. We've imagined it, and therefore we want to stick with it.
Yeah, it's because George Lucas wanted to make World War II in space with dogfights, and so we want to make the craft like in Star Wars.
I mean,
I
For
just
anyone wondering
wanna-
about Dragonfly, it's a lithium-ion battery.
Oh, it doesn't recharge.
How does it?
Oh wait, it does say be recharged. 1 second.
Presumably
I didn't get to
that's-
that far.
So what? I just want to throw the word anti-grav in there that you, Simon. Like, is that a thing? And could it ever be a thing? Help a DM out here.
So,
Radioisotope power source.
oh, so right, it's an MMR.
Oh, what's the
Um,
lithium-ion battery there for then?
No, that's what it recharges the battery. With the power.
Because it will have to be really power intensive when it's flying, and then it has to like rest for a bit, and then it'll buzz off.
Oh my
Yeah, it
God,
says
that's so
recharge during the
sweet.
8 Earth day Titan night. So 1 night on Titan is 8 days.
But also,
Long.
but
20, yeah.
also, like, do you define the night as when it goes into the shadow of Saturn? Do you have days that are also completely dark?
I don't know.
Sorry. Anyway, it could be. So anti-grav.
apparently, when I was little, there was a conversation between myself and my mum when I was going to bed about where I was trying to tell her that anti-gravity fields that make them like walk on the ground in sci-fi shows weren't real. And she was like, I think it is real. They can do that, right? And I was like, I don't think it is real. We had to go get my dad to like arbitrate the reality of the anti-gravity.
How
He
old
came
were
down
you?
on the side of it. No.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm quite small.
I think basically.
Can we make spaceships with anti-gravity plating and
Yeah,
walk around on
Simon,
them?
come on.
With the current state of physics knowledge, I believe the answer is no. It may well be that in the future,
Yeah.
especially if there are like, if something relatively esoteric like string theory might just cough up a result where you go, holy shit, if you put together this bunch of stuff in this particular configuration, then you actually generate an anti-graviton or something.
isn't the point that there
something
is
like that.
Isn't a graviton a hypothesized particle that has never been found, and never been any evidence that it exists?
Didn't
Isn't
they
that right?
find evidence for it recently?
Did they?
I feel
I don't
like
know. It
that's
might be
not
something
a
else.
thing.
There was one particle they found
It's-
evidence
it's
for
the
recently.
They're always
messenger-
like sort of.
It's the messenger particle for gravity, basically, in the same way that the photon is the messenger particle for the electromagnetic force. The difference being that think, as of yet, we have a unified theory that ties the force of gravity in the same way that we have the force of electromagnetism. Like, it's the outlier of weak, strong, and electromagnetism. So it's one of these things that we would require a new theory for that possibility to pop out. So it's not impossible. It is impossible according to modern physics. Let's put it like that. But what you'd practically do is something that I think the Expanse does, is have things like magnetic boots on metal floors, or you have Velcro socks like in 2001, or you use centrifugal force.
I mean, I had Velcro shoes when I was like 5, so you know.
Yeah.
But none of that's going to help you lift out of the atmosphere without.
The big spinny is my favorite method of sci-fi ship.
Big spinny, yeah.
Gravities.
For sure.
Because it doesn't even need to
technical
be
term is the big
It's very
spinny.
popular at the moment.
If it's about a 10-meter radius, which is roughly, I think, the size of the ship in 2001, then it needs to rotate like once a second, I think.
Oh, that's fast.
That's fast.
dear.
So don't touch it.
What do we don't touch it?
Don't touch
Well,
it
it
or
would be
be on
bad.
it.
It would be like, whoop,
Or is it
Oh,
once
right.
every 3 seconds? I can't remember the formula off the
No
top of my head.
spacewalks.
It's
Yeah.
omega squared r. So if you want that to be 10, then you'd want omega. Yeah, so that'd be 1 per second. Yeah.
He's doing
1 per
maths
second.
again.
What? How was it? 10 meters? Was it radius or diameter? What? It doesn't matter. Like,
Radius.
spinning that fast, you can't. In a circular, that's going to fuck with your your ear receptors.
And also, the closer you got to the spoke of rotation,
Yeah.
the gravity would be decreased.
Yeah, it would be
With-
decreased,
that's
but like
cool.
you would.
If you're inside an anti-gravity,
An
if you're
anti-gravity?
floating, would the ship just be spinning around you and
Spinning
you'd
around
be
you.
still?
Yeah. So there's a
Yeah.
novel by Arthur C. Clarke called Rendezvous at Rama, where they basically have a huge alien ship that's like maybe like 2 kilometers across, that's rotating slowly, and on the surface of this cylinder on the inside, that's
But I think-
that's Earth gravity. But
In
then
your
if you get
ears.
close to the axis, they
That's
want
cool.
to get from one end of the cylinder to the other quickly. So they basically have
try and cut
a
across.
Yeah, they
Oh,
kinda cut across through
no.
the
Don't
axis.
Take the shortcut.
But it's an unstable equilibrium, because as soon as you deviate from the very center of that cylinder, then you'll fall in whatever direction you've deviated towards,
Yeah.
faster and faster and faster.
Oh no.
Wow.
But anyway, when we talk about SSTO, we got
Right, oh, right,
sidetracked. So
What's an
Can
SSTO
I just
again?
talk about ears for a second?
Yeah, let's talk about ears.
Go on.
Your ears would be fine. Your ears would be like I've experienced it before. So, it's
So
that
you
way, it's
have
fine.
you have these little like globules of gel in your ears called, I don't know what the gel is called, but
Brilliant.
in
the ones on the
Nice. Well,
hairs, right?
I'm done. Yeah, exactly. And
Like-
in those globules you have little bits of mineral called otoliths. Anyway, the gel sort of falls in the direction of gravity or whatever force is being put on you in terms of movement. So the movement of that pushes against the hairs in your ears, which sends signals to your brain telling you if you're moving or not, right? So if you were spinning in like 1 rotation a second in something like that, presumably that would be a force that those otoliths would feel, and it would make you feel
No, but-
incredibly sick.
Surely the force would be only in one direction, which is outwards, right? All the force is you're experiencing outwards. You don't feel side to side motion.
No.
It's just outwards. So as long as that force
Yeah.
is exactly 10
Yes.
meters per
difference-
second squared, you are feeling a single force in a single direction of the exact same amount of gravity. The experience you would not experience motion, right?
yeah, and I think the key thing is
Yes.
that as the radius tended to infinity, it's like being on a
Hey.
flat plane. You know, like the smaller the radius is, the more it's going to fuck with you.
Oh.
Because it's
Okay.
like your head is moving relative to a curved surface, but the force is radial from that surface.
Oh.
So if you're on a large rotating
I think I
object, you probably
understood that.
wouldn't notice it. But if you're on a small one,
Yeah.
Like
you'd,
Earth.
you'd be like, "Ugh!"
Your head, because of your height, your head would be at a completely different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Um,
Oh dear.
Right. So, what I wanted to say,
Anyway.
I said there are 2 approaches, and there's kind of actually 3, which I'll rattle through very quickly. So, if you want to try and get from surface to space with one go, you can try and do that with one rocket engine that you use at all altitudes, which is like the simple solution. You just use one engine. But that's a big problem when basically the shape of a rocket nozzle is specific to a pressure. So the shape of a rocket that's used at sea level is slightly different to the shape of a rocket nozzle that's used in vacuum, because you want the gases that you're exhausting to basically get to the pressure of the surroundings. So you want the gas to expand to 1 atmosphere at the surface and to basically vacuum in orbit. And if you try to use a vacuum bell meaning the shape of the nozzle from vacuum in the atmosphere, you can basically have this disastrous effect where you start. There's no way this doesn't just sound bad. You start shedding vortices, which is basically where you get these alternating pressures of high and alternating areas of high and low pressure in the wake of your craft, and if that happens at a certain frequency, it can shake the rocket apart. So it's
but not even if they're behind you. So you're like, I'm shedding these off. They're not in front of me. I don't have to bam my way through these vortices.
But because of the nature of the flow, it's a complicated fluid dynamics thing basically. Because of how the flow is interacting with the bell, and it's that gradient of the pressure. It's why you do this, so that you have the exhaust gases be basically the same pressure as your surroundings, so that there isn't that sharp gradient right at the edge of your rocket bell.
Right, which would
So basically, if you wanted to try and use the same engine the whole way around, it's very difficult. You could do it if you actually had a rocket engine bell that varied its shape depending on the altitude, which is something that you could do. Like, it's difficult, but you could do it, or you could just have multiple engines with different bells for different heights, whatever. The other way of doing it...
What if your shape was influenced by flesh that could change its shape, like some sort of a
fleshy bell
ship?
Then there you go.
Yeah.
That would be, if anything, easier, I think. Like, you could evolve something to specifically do this. Or the alternative is to use an engine that transitions how it behaves based on whether it's in atmosphere or in orbit. So you can have an engine that basically is like a jet engine in atmosphere, and then when you reach a certain altitude where there's not enough oxygen around, you switch to being a rocket engine. And then you use oxygen you've taken with you. Or, which you could do, is then you load the spaceship with oxidizer, and then you just turn the tap on when you get out of atmosphere. Or another option is you take in oxygen as you are passing through the atmosphere. And
that's cool.
You use that as an oxidizer in space.
Oh,
but you're not to pressurize it enough to be like efficient, right?
I think you'd have to go for probably quite a while through the atmosphere in like high Mach values just to
go round for a bit and then go.
But I love this idea of we have to get to a planet that has oxygen to refuel the oxidizer. Like, we have enough fuel, but we just need oxidizer.
Yeah.
Which could be a really cool sort of plot point, I guess.
That is cool. I like that a lot.
But yeah, the other option is to take the oxygen with you, and then you switch to a rocket propulsion system, there is a concept which I fucking adore called Skylon, which has been trying to do this for ages. And basically, it's a British company. It's a company called Reaction Engines. And I went to a talk that they gave in Oxford when I was an undergrad about this engine tech that they were working on. And Skylon's this sort of concept they've been trying to use. The engines are called Sabre engines, and the Skylon is one example of how you'd use it. But basically, it's like a jet engine that can function up to, I think, Mach 5 or Mach 6, so really, really high speeds. And then once it reaches that point, it cuts the jet part of it and it becomes a rocket engine. And the really cool thing about that is, in order for the jet to work at those speeds, it has to cool the air that's coming in, because it's being compressed into the engine so quickly that it heats up to something like 1,000 degrees. And it has to be cooled down by hundreds and hundreds of Kelvin over the course of about 2 meters in order for it to function as an engine. And the way that they've worked out to do it is basically a nest, like a really complicated mesh of tiny tubes that carry liquid helium. So as this air passes over it, it gets cooled incredibly quickly. But it's still and it's underdeveloped.
So like a little honeycomb of helium.
Yeah, kind of. It's nuts, or like a spider's web, where each spider thread is full of liquid helium. And so they're still doing testing. They did something quite recently, actually, and it's slowly but surely, seemingly getting there. And it's had a lot of funding, and it's actually just quietly making progress in the background. Where it's not necessarily the case that Skylon, which is this space plane that would use 2 of them, and you could take off from an airport, put something in orbit, like a satellite, and then loop back down and land and have a turnaround of like 2 days on the whole thing. Like, that's one possibility. Or you could use it for like hypersonic passenger jets that take you from London to Sydney in like 3 hours.
That would be very fast. I don't think I would enjoy that.
Yeah, it would be a lot. It would be a hell of an experience.
Would you feel the was it G-forces?
Jeez.
Like, would
Yeah,
you,
little bit, surely.
presumably
Yeah.
it'll be quite intense G-forces.
what's the max where
Everyone
you
will
just
be dead
pass
on a
out?
rifle.
Like,
I think
and was it? Is it something to do with the oxygen flow? Like it stops
It's the
oxygen flow to your
the blood being
brain
able to
or
get to your
something.
brain, I think.
Yeah, because it's just being pushed.
But I think the maximum that humans have ever endured
yeah.
is like 14 and survived, like
Oof.
for very brief moments. Like, or I think it was the
Not for
Mercury,
3 hours on a plane.
Yeah.
I think the
To Sydney.
the Mercury
Flight.
program like had their astronauts train at like 10G for like relatively extended periods.
Oh no!
It's like, ugh, God.
It doesn't sound
Um,
good.
But the final technique is sort of the kind of the least obvious, but probably the best option, which is you don't do it as a plane, you do it as a space elevator.
Yes.
Because that's a single stage from the planet straight up into space, and then you can link up with your
Brilliant stuff.
2001-esque hotel spaceport, and then you leave on a specialized spacecraft.
Is this like Willy Wonka's giant glass elevator, except with more like cables and stuff?
The vermicious canids.
Is it full of vermicious knids?
I'd love it if they did actually make this as transparent as possible, as a homage to it, but also just because it would look dope as you're going through the atmosphere. But it's basically it's you have a tether on some low latitude country, and then you have a wire connecting that to the surface, and you have some form of pod that then basically crawls up that cable. And on the way up, you actually have the benefit of centrifugal force, obviously, that then takes you from the surface up to orbit with very little fuss, seemingly.
It's mad, and like the every time I think about it, I'm just like, oh no, like I don't like going up like 10 floors if I can see out of an elevator. Imagine going into the sky, like.
But also, it would
all the
take.
way.
I think I seem to remember it would take the order of like 2 or 3 days to do an ascent, like in a very energy efficient way.
Oh really?
What?
So yeah, like it's not necessarily like a 1 hour trip because you have to get to. I'm pretty sure you basically have to get your anchor at geostationary orbit. So that's what 36,000
Oh,
kilometers or something like that.
I don't know.
But also, I suppose you could just put a station. You know, that would be where your equilibrium, the stable point would be. But you could also stop.
Have like hotels, like
Yeah.
hotels in the sky. Oh my god.
Like if you were to
Oh,
look forward
see, I wanna
several
go to that.
centuries, you could see several of
Claustrophobic.
these things around low orbit. Around low latitudes, and that's like your jumping off point to the rest of the solar system.
Whoa.
Like, I mean, again, sort of reference 40k twice in one stream. It's something that Mars has in that setting. It has what's called the Ring of Iron, which is just a ring that goes all the way around the planet on the equatorial plane that acts as like that transit point from space going down to the surface.
Awesome.
But yeah, sorry, that was me nerding out about single stage to orbit. An idea that we could do, and there's some very cool technology, but you're probably better off building specialized rockets / aircraft.
Nice.
Thank
Thus
you for coming
Simon has
to my TED talk.
spoken.
And thus it shall be done.
Policy shall be implemented based on these recommendations. We thank you,
Yeah,
Simon
we're a
Clark.
policy show, actually. I don't know if anyone.
This explains a lot about the UK government right now.
They just do whatever we advise. Like, have you considered turning into a frog in this trying time?
If you look at next Prime Minister's questions, Boris Johnson's got a notebook with a satire with a huge penis. Like, yeah.
We have
great.
nothing to do with this government. The RPGeeks has no affiliation to the UK government. Just want to make that clear.
Despite also having a huge knob in it, we have nothing to do with Boris Johnson's cabinet.
Hey, political. Right, good. In that case, I think we shall wrap up before we get any more distracted conversations happening. Thank you everyone who has joined us in chat. You're awesome. Thank you everyone watching on YouTube or on podcasts. If you want to switch up the medium and consume the RPGeeks show in a different way, links to all of these things are on our website, rpgeeks.co.uk. It will tell you all of the places you can find and consume us. The show, not us. Just, yeah.
No consuming of the actual RPGeeks, please. Thank you.
And please follow us on socials and say hi to us. We're at RPGeeks DnD on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, and
Dong. No,
Yeah.
not knob. Dong. I was trying to do
What?
DnD.
Knob?
But then I was going to say knob, and that's
Dong
okay.
knob?
Dog.
What's happening?
No, wait, what?
Dong. Nuts dong. D&D. Like,
Oh, right.
Oh, dong nuts dong. Yes, of
Yeah.
course.
That's dong.
that not clear? Sorry,
no,
everyone.
obviously that makes perfect sense. Can't believe we didn't get that. That's
RP
what.
Geeks,
you were
D&D.
saying.
That's dong nuts dong.
Goodness sakes.
Come say hi.
It's a nice
and,
phonetic alphabet.
you can also find us on Simon's Discord server, where there are a lot of memes and science questions.
Yes.
If you have any science questions, come to our Discord. We'll join you. We'll see you next week, next Wednesday, for some Evolution board game, and we'll be back with the regular campaign and DnDebrief science chat after that. Thanks very much for joining, everyone. See you soon. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.